Chapter-841-His Children. Konoha Village, a quiet courtyard. The breeze is blowing, the small trees are rustling, and in front of the wooden house, the colorful flowers are blooming in the 2 flower beds, and the butterflies of the colorful madara are flying. The children who are only 2 or 3 years old are walking around the flower bed, trying to catch the butterflies. Smiling happily. The middle-aged woman with a few strands of white silk on her temples sat on the rocking chair in front of the door, looked at the child, and smiled peacefully. 5 days ago, Konoha suffered the most serious attack in history. At this time, Konoha was full of chills. The woman didn't care about this. Although she was in the city, she seemed to be isolated from the world. It has been a long time since she went out to see it. This child, her youngest son, seemed to be her whole life. Oops! The child accidentally fell into the flower bed, but didn't cry. With a very skinny appearance, he struggled to get up again. Looking at his dirty little hands, his little face was wrinkled together. Be careful. The woman covered her mouth and laughed, got up and walked into the room. Asuma is to blame, she has to wash it up. The woman entered the house to fetch water, and was about to go out with the wash basin in hand. Wow! She suddenly heard her son's cry, and seemed to be frightened. The woman frowned, but she was not worried. This small courtyard was protected by Anbu ninjas, so it wouldn't be an accident. The woman hurried out with the water basin in hand, but she was stunned as soon as she got outside the door. The 6 Anbu ninjas who are responsible for the safety of Sarutobi Lake Biwa and Sarutobi Asuma have all appeared. They all seem to have been immobilized. They stare blankly. Standing in the courtyard, the little guy Sarutobi Asuma is crying because he doesn't know the person in front of him. Unshaven man. A middle-aged man who suddenly appeared was squatting in front of Sarutobi Asuma, pulling his dirty little hands, and was wiping him clean. Bang bang. The water basin fell to the ground, and half of the basin was soaked in water on the slate floor. Sarutobi Bawako looked at the man who had been missing for nearly 2 years and burst into tears. Ha! He doesn't even know me anymore. Hiruzen. Quote. Sarutobi Lake Biwa cried and fell into Sarutobi Hiruzen's arms. After a while, Kaharu Udatane and Hataki Sakumo who got the news came to the small courtyard quickly. Only the 2 of them got the news, because Anbu would only report to these 2 people. Time flies. Into the night. The wooden house in the small courtyard is still brightly lit. Sarutobi Hiruzen's conversation with Kaharu Udatane and White Fang has not ended. He was trapped for 2 years. Sarutobi Hiruzen knows that the sun is coming, and he doesn't know who his enemy is, because he has only seen that white guy, White Zetsu. Kaharu Udatane reported to Sarutobi Hiruzen about the situation in the past 2 years. Almost every 10 sentences, 8 of them mention Hangwang, because Konoha can persist to this day and calm down the troubled world, all because of him. It was also because of his sudden fall that the situation completely collapsed, and Konoha was about to enter the abyss of doom. Master Hangwang single-handedly facilitated the alliance with Kumogakure, and cooperated with Raikage, the 3rd generation of Eyes, to attack the village of Iwagakure. Since Lord Hangwang severely damaged the Sunagakure puppet division and Omegakure village. If Lord Hangwang didn't die suddenly, then Kaharu Udatane was in awe of Lu Han, and when he mentioned holding a state funeral for Hangwang, he burst into tears, all of which were seen by Sarutobi Hiruzen. In 2 years, White Zetsu and Sarutobi Hiruzen met hundreds of times, and each time they would imply Sarutobi Hiruzen, intentionally or unintentionally, let Sarutobi Hiruzen think that the Senju Senluo incident, he was trapped, etc. Hangwang is the mastermind behind the scenes. But obviously, this can't deceive Sarutobi Hiruzen, and it is not a perfect frame-up plan. It can be said to be full of loopholes. At this time, through Kaharu Udatane, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally confirmed his suspicions. It was the white guy who imprisoned him. Before Hangwang died, he was also led away from Konoha by the white guy, attacked Tsunade, and held Tsunade hostage. White guy. It makes no sense to say that Hangwang and that white guy are in the same group. Hiruzen, these 2 years, you. Kaharu Udatane finally asked. She and Sarutobi Hiruzen were close friends. Although they hadn't seen each other for 2 years, they didn't get along. I was tricked. Senluo sealed me with a secret technique before he died, and then that white guy imprisoned me, the person you just mentioned. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes were confused when he said this. He doesn't understand. Because he didn't know how he was released. A day ago, when he woke up again, he was already in the wild, the seal on his body was lifted, all injuries were healed, his white hair was still black, and his state returned to its peak. There was still a cloud of fog in front of him. Both Kaharu Udatane and Hitaki Sakumo were shocked. White guy. It's him again. Who is he? The terrifying feeling flooded into everyone's heart. All of them were extremely talented, and they could all feel that there seemed to be a pair of invisible big hands in the dark, manipulating everything. Tsunade seems to know something. Kaharu Udatane suddenly said, since the death of Lord Hengguang, her state has been very bad. I asked her a few times, and she said something, but every time to the end, she kept talking stop, it seems. There is something extremely terrifying that she dare not mention. ... The mansion in the forest, above the ruins, there is only one main building that has been repaired. In the battle 5 days ago, Hanzo and Onoki had both killed here, and destroyed 788, but no one was hurt, because at that time, Tsunade and Uzumaki Kushina were both transferred to Anbu, and Hyuga Luo Ning was with the Hyuga clan. Action. In the main building, only the first floor has light. The lobby was very quiet, only the sound of the bowls and chopsticks touching, and the food on the table was quite abundant. Uzumaki Kushina ate her food in small bites. She used to be very lively, but now she seems to be much quieter, or rather depressed. Hyuga Luo Ning was dressed in morning clothes and looked like she had lost her appetite, and the swollen yuhi on her eyes had not gone away. She lost her husband more than a month ago. She lost her father 5 days ago. Every midnight dream, she would burst into tears on the pillow towel. Gret. Tsunade suddenly dropped the tableware and retched, turning his head to cover his mouth. Hyuga Luo Ning hurriedly patted her on the back. It's his child, how many months? A hoarse voice suddenly sounded. Tsunade looked back suddenly. Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared at the door at some point. Chapter 0842-memorabilia. Sarutobi Hiruzen could feel that there was another life in Tsunade. There was a very brief silence in the lobby. Everyone stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Tsunade's expression was even dull. A person who had been missing for 2 years suddenly appeared. If it wasn't for the fact that Tsunade, Hyuga Luo Ning, and Uzumaki Kushina had experienced too many blows recently, I'm afraid it would be true. Jump up in fright. 2 months, Tsunade said, looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen with complicated eyes. Sarutobi Hiruzen's sudden visit has no other meaning. It is not a big deal for him to leave a posthumous child. He came, just wanted to know, what happened on the day that Hongguang died in battle. The unknown is what makes people the most fearful. Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't even know who the real enemy is, he wants to know. Tsunade did not disappoint him and gave Sarutobi Hiruzen a name, Uchiha Madara. This is the first time Tsunade has mentioned this name since he returned to Konoha for more than a month. It is not that she is afraid to say it, but that she was in such a bad state when she first returned to Konoha that she did not want to mention what happened that night. She was afraid, that painful memories. And when she wanted to say it, no one asked her again. She didn't think about taking the initiative to tell anyone, because she knew that no one would believe that Uchiha Madara was still alive. And Tsunade has already planned to leave Konoha. If Konoha is defeated, she will inevitably fly away with the child in her belly. In the 37th year of Konoha, on March 21st, Kaharu Udatane held the Jonin conference, and Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared at the conference, causing a sensation in Konoha. Without any resistance, he has returned to the helm of Konoha since the moment he appeared among Sarutobi Hiruzen. At the end of March, the news of Sarutobi Hiruzen's return has spread throughout the ninja world. In the northwest of the Land of Fire, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Uchiha Corps slaughtered and scattered the Omegakure Corps and severely damaged Hanzo. In early April, Tsunade made a secret mission to Kumogakure village, the Land of Thunder. In mid-April, Konoha and Kumogakure allied again and announced to the world that Kumogakure sent troops to Iwagakure, forcing all Iwagakure legions to return to the country of aid. At the end of May, Sarutobi Hiruzen brought Hatake Sakumo, Hatake Teishuo, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and severely damaged the Kurigakure Corps occupying the southern part of the country of fire. Because the Kurigakure Corps was less powerful and lacked peak combat power, 5,000 ninjas were killed by Sarutobi Hiruzen and other strong men. At the beginning of June, Konoha mobilized 6,000 ninjas to defeat the Sunagakure Corps, and pursued them all the way to enter the Land of Winds and approach Sunagakure village. In the 37th year of Konoha, in July, Sunagakure village begged for peace, then admitted defeat, and the Second Ninja World War officially ended. Only 4 months after Sarutobi Hiruzen returned to Konoha, he pacified the war in the ninja world. In fact, this is not how wise he is. Every time Konoha reverses the situation, Konoha ninja will think of that person. It was he who laid a solid foundation for Konoha to pacify the war. If he didn't die suddenly, the Ninja World War has ended, and there should be no more waves. Sarutobi Hiruzen returns to Konoha. His role is to act as a backbone, as a wise decision-maker. Tsunade also contributed a lot, if not for her mission to Kumogakure village as Hengwang's widow, persuaded Lao Ai to let Konoha and Kumogakure letting go of the previous suspicion. The Ninja World War could not end so smoothly. At the end of the 37th year of Konoha, a statue of Hengwang was erected on the square of the ninja school in Konoha village. The statue was 36 meters high and 12 stories high. There is a stone tablet under the statue, which records the life and deeds of Hengwang with the inscription. This matter was proposed by Kaharu Udatane, and Sarutobi Hiruzen approved it, because Hengwang has not become an official Hokage until his death, so it is impossible to carve a statue on the Hokage rock. Konoha can only use this method as to commemorate the cold light. For Sarutobi Hiruzen, no matter how much grudge he has with Hengwang, he can't take a big deal to erase Hengwang's achievements, what people want, and since Hengwang is dead, the past grudges will naturally disappear. Sarutobi Hiruzen will not humiliate one after Konoha's death. The old hero, Konoha after the war is in ruins, the pain has not yet been healed. Konoha needs heroes to inspire the next generation. Sarutobi Hiruzen is going to make Hengwang the greatest hero since the founding of Konoha. Since then, Konoha has started the God-building movement, with Hengwang as the protagonist. Gradually became a legend in Konoha. In the 38th year of Konoha, on the 6th day of the first month, Tsunade gave birth to a son named Lee, in Konoha. Reikage I, the third generation of Kumogakure village, and his son Xiao I rushed to Konoha to worship Matsuri Hengwang's tomb. The idea of accepting Ali as his adopted son was rejected by Tsunade. In the 38th year of Konoha, at the beginning of March, Tsunade left Konoha with his infant son, Hyuga, and disappeared without a trace. April, Konoha five-tailed man Jinchuriki, column force Uzumaki Kushina left Konoha, said to be looking for Tsunade. At the end of the 38th year of Konoha, Sarutobi Hiruzen removed Uchiha Leiyang's advisory position, and after half a month, the Uchiha clan was in civil strife, and Uchiha Leiyang died in the war on the night of the civil strife. The Uchiha ninja loyal to Konoha stopped him. After Leiyang died, with the support of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 23-year-old Uchiha Madara Fugaku, the son of Uchiha Yokoyama, the former chief of the Uchiha clan, ascended to the top to take charge of the Uchiha clan. At the beginning of the 39th year of Konoha, Uchiha Fugaku, the new head of the Uchiha tribe, married Uchiha Shangyan. 40 years of Konoha. In March, Konoha Anbu captain Hatake Sakumo committed suicide due to the failure of his mission to rescue his companions and was blamed. Sarutobi Hiruzen revoked the S Department establishment, and Hatake Teishuo was officially transferred to Konoha Anbu as the captain. In the 42nd year of Konoha, Kyubeit Nine Tails, who died at the same time due to the death of cold light, was resurrected in the Land of Fire. Konoha was the first to get the information. Sarutobi Hiruzen personally shot, and Konoha Anbu successfully captured Kyubi, Ninetales, and brought him back. Sealed in the body of 13-year-old Uzumaki Arena. At this point, Uzumaki Arena became the fourth-generation Kyubi, Ninetales, Jinchuriki, column force after Uzumaki Mito, Uzumaki Kushina and Hongguang. 45 years in Konoha. Since the end of the Second Ninja World War, the 5 countries that have been recuperating for 8 years have once again clashed over interests. The Third Ninja War broke out. Chapter 0843 Konoha 47 years. In the silver gray world, the messenger of subversion is suspended in the center of the light ball. In front of the light ball, there is another slightly smaller light ball. Luhan is wrapped in the middle of the white light ball. Only his feet, hands and head are exposed. Outside, the rest of the location is shrouded in white light. Ding! 10 years have passed, and the subversive 3665 is about to end its slumber. Consciousness is awakening. Consciousness is being repaired. Memory is being repaired. The total strength of the subversive 3665 is being calculated. Transformation. The subversive is about to wake up. The cold voice loomed in the space. The cold light shrouded in the white light moved his fingers slightly. The white light on his body quickly converged, and the person slowly fell to the ground. When his feet touched the ground, the white light on his body disappeared completely. Luhan's eyelashes trembled, and he slowly opened his eyes. In a dream for 10 years, Luhan has not changed in any way. For him, 10 years is but a moment. Because his consciousness and memory have been repaired, he has not experienced blurred memory and loss of consciousness. His memory is still disappearing. In the night sky. Waking up in the subversive space seemed to him like only a second had passed. 10 years. Luhan asked, thinking about Tsunade involuntarily in his mind. When Tsunade woke up, he saw her husband's body. It was painful, right? 10 years, subversive 3665, you have finished sleeping, retaining all abilities and items. Are you going to the Hokage world now? The subversive messenger said without emotion. 10 years. 47 years of Konoha. The Third Ninja War has already begun. Namikaze Minato is about to become Hokage. I don't know if he and Kushina have. Luhan did not respond to the subversion messenger. Instead, he muttered to himself and looked down at himself. No clothes. Luhan's habitual hand seal smoothly displayed the secret technique of changing clothes, and a neat black suit appeared on his body. The kunai shuriken and other equipment were also fully equipped, but there was no sword of shock. Who's holding this knife now? Luhan asked himself in a low voice. When he died 10 years ago, he left in the state of his soul body. Right next to his corpse. The Sword of Astonishment is a real artifact. Too many things will happen in 10 years, so it's impossible to know for sure if this knife is still in Konoha's hands. Luhan opened the space backpack and checked it out. It was very good. There were a lot of dropped weapons, looted money, all kinds of medicines except blue medicine. Everything was there. If I go back to the Hokage world now, in what way will I appear? Where? Luhan raised his head and asked. Remind the subversive 3665 that you can return to the Hokage world in 2 ways. The subversive messenger continued. The first one, which will appear anywhere in the ninja world, the physical body of the subversive 3665 in the Hokage world will be reshaped. However, there are drawbacks in doing so. Physical remodeling requires energy, so the power of the disruptor will be degraded. Quote. The second way, the subverter returns directly to the body, but there is also a problem, because the subverter 3665 has been in the dead body of the ninja world for 10 years, and has become a bone, and there is a possibility of loss. If the subverter's body is missing, incomplete bones also require energy to repair, and the energy required here is even greater than the remodeling of the physical body. Quote. The second kind. Luhan made a decision without thinking more. He didn't want to reshape the body, because then logically, he was another person, even if he looked exactly the same, he was another person. He didn't want to become another person, because he had left a bloodline in the ninja world, and Tsunade was pregnant with his child. If everything went well, that child should be over 9 years old at this time. Therefore, even if his original body has been dismembered by 5 horses, he has to return to that body. After all, it is a resurrection. Even if the body is turned into ashes and some bones are left, there should be a way to restore it. The big deal is to lose some. Just strength. 47th year of Konoha, February 15th, the night of the full moon. At the end of the Third Ninja World War, the war between the various forces in the ninja world has been heating up, and the Konoha village at the center of the storm has been under military control for 2 years. In Konoha at night, the lights are sparse and it is silent. Curfew. After nightfall, no one is allowed to move around in Konoha village. In the forest behind the mountain, there is some noise. Tomb of Heroes. Located in the hidden part of the forest in the back mountain of Konoha village, is not a tomb, but a group of tombs. The people who can be buried here are all powerful ninjas who have made great contributions to Konoha. Since the establishment of Konoha, for more than 10 years, there are only a few people who can be buried here. The first Hokage and the second Hokage are not buried here, not that they are not heroes, but because they are Hokage, where the cemetery is located. The location is more private and special. The hustle and bustle in front of the hero's tomb started during the day and gradually cooled down into the night. Today is a very special day for many people in Konoha. There are many people, 300 people have come to worship Matsuri, and many of them are high-ranking Konoha. There are also young people and children who come to Matsuri to worship because of their admiration. 10 years ago, a generation of legendary ninja Konoha Hengwang died in Kangshaling, the country of Sichuan. Today is the 10th anniversary of Han Guang's death. 10 years later, Han Guang has not only not faded in the memories of the people of Konoha, but it has become clearer and more real. This is a legendary existence written in textbooks. Even in the mundane world, there are people who sing about his deeds. Hengwang was close to a god before his death, and after his death, he was frequently compared to Senju Hashirama. He became a god after his death, and he was the one who was talking about him. Because Hengwang's deeds have been repeated repeatedly, everyone in Konoha is very clear about Hengwang's death day. Every death day, worshipping Matsuri Hengwang has almost become an activity of Konoha. After a busy day due to the war, Kaharu Udatane finally found time to come to the Tomb of Heroes by the moonlight. In front of Hengwang's tombstone, all kinds of food have been placed, and candles full of tears are still burning. Chapter 0844-Resurrection. Because Konoha has a curfew, the people who come to Matsuri to worship Hengwang today are basically chosen during the day, even for some big people who can move freely at night. Kaharu Udatane is only at night because he can't make time during the day. Come and see. At this time, there was no one else in front of Hengwang's tomb. Anbu Ninja, who was in charge of guarding the hero's tomb, also didn't show up. They naturally knew Kaharu Udatane, so they didn't have to do anything, just watch in secret. Kaharu Udatane took out a candle from his arms, lit it, and placed it in front of the Hengwang tombstone. She didn't bring Matsuri to offer offerings, the offerings were already enough, and she didn't miss her share. Matsuri worshipping someone is nothing more than a thought, memory. Whether there is an offering or not is secondary, that thing, other than putting it, doesn't help that it rots here. Kaharu Udatane, who had gray hair, stood in front of the tomb without saying a word. After a while, he asked aloud, "Anbu, who is here?" Call. 2 ninjas wearing Anbu-style ninja uniforms with masks on their faces appeared out of thin air, knelt on one knee and said in unison, "I have seen Mr. Kaharu." "Is she here?" Kaharu Udatane asked majestically. "What the Lord said is." Anbu Ninja with a stronger body raised his head and asked. "Tsunade." Kaharu Udatane said. "Come here at noon." The sturdy Anbu Ninja said. "Is she alone?" The two of them brought the young master away. After Matsuri paid his respects, they left directly from the back mountain. I see, alas. Kaharu Udatane sighed. Another reason she came here was to know if Tsunade had been there before. Because Sarutobi Hiruzen mentioned to her a few days ago, I hope Tsunade can bring the child back to Konoha. First, I hope that the child can enroll at the Konoha Ninja School and be branded as Konoha. It is said that the child is talented and enchanting. But it is only said that no one has ever seen the child fight with people. The second is that Konoha's funds are currently tight, and Sarutobi Hiruzen wants to borrow money from Tsunade. The largest ninja village in the ninja world has to borrow money from someone. It's so incredible. Tsunade is very rich. It is said that most of the money that Hongguang looted when he was alive was given to Tsunade. It is a treasure. Because of this legend, Tsunade is known as the second richest man in the Land of Fire, second only to the famous name in the Land of Fire. This legend also caused her a lot of trouble. Too many people wanted to kill her and rob her of her money. This made her whereabouts very secret for many years, and it was very difficult for Konoha to find her. For so many years, since Tsunade left Konoha, he has never stepped into the village of Konoha again, but the annual Matsuri prayer has never fallen. Has been a few years since the Third Ninja War broke out, but Tsunade has not returned to Konoha to take responsibility, even with Jiraiya and Orochimaru, and Kaharu Udatane knows why. Before Tsunade left Konoha with his infant son in his arms, there was a big quarrel with Sarutobi Hiruzen once, and Kaharu Udatane heard about the truth about the decline of the Senju clan. Tsunade still refuses to forgive Sarutobi Hiruzen. Thinking of this, Kaharu Udatane sighed involuntarily, walked a dozen meters to the side, and looked at the headstone of another tomb. Tomb of White Fang. There is no monument erector, no real name, and weeds grow on the tomb. It can be said to be the most primitive tomb in the group of heroes. White Fang is a hero. His death can be said to be Konoha's biggest loss since Hongguang's death. But the way he died was so bizarre that some people felt aggrieved, and some people looked down on him. He committed suicide. Suicides are usually considered cowards. Back then, White Fang's suicide shocked the whole ninja world, and then he was attacked even more fiercely. Originally, he was not allowed to enter the Tomb of Heroes, but Kaharu Udatane, who knew the inside story, strongly argued that even Sarutobi Hiruzen did it. Concession. Looking at White Fang's tombstone, Kaharu Udatane's expression was very complicated. White Fang shouldn't have died, but some people were more and more dissatisfied with him, hoping that he would die, and he died. A sin. Kaharu Udatane sighed and turned away. Kaharu Udatane gradually disappeared into the darkness of the forest, and the two Anbu ninjas heard her sigh, looked at each other, both saw the bitterness in the other's eyes, and then they all disappeared. The real thoughts of history have been buried under the dust. The past is finally over. They have been in Anbu for nearly 20 years, and they know a lot. But so what? What can't be changed, after all, can't be. The wind blew the dead leaves, and the candlelight in front of the tombstone trembled gently. ... In the darkness where you can't see your fingers, the rotten aura lingers all year round, and it is silent and silent, for I don't know how many years. Sudden. A ray of light lit up in the darkness, and since the light appeared, the originally dark and narrow world was shrouded in a hazy halo. The white jade-like skeleton lay flat in the golden-silver treasure, with a ring on the phalanx and wrapped around the body. Wearing the tattered clothes that have been oxidized, the light appears in the skull of the skeleton. It is a ray of ghost fire. On the hideous skull, UV light lit up in the two eye holes, as if a person had opened his eyes. Skull raised his hand and pressed up. Coffin. As soon as Luhan woke up, he knew the environment he was in, and he was relieved. It seemed that he was buried. That is to say, there was no accident in Tsunade 10 years ago. If there is an accident after his death, he should be a corpse in the wilderness, and there is not even a corpse collector. The brain, growing from the skull. The heart, emerges in the chest cavity. Fresh Yuhi's muscles are surging. Meridians, muscles, blood vessels. Everything is growing rapidly. For subversives, if they become skeletons, they will die, but now Luhan is resurrecting. Of course, there is no need to follow this logic. In just 5 minutes, Luhan returned to his normal appearance as a 19-year-old man, with flesh, blood, face, and skin. Then, a black ninja suit appeared out of thin air, and the weapons were also equipped with the clothes. Luhan raised his left hand and looked at it, the ring. Just put it on Luhan's hand. The magic ring. Luhan's sword of astonishment was not buried with him. He knew it was an artifact, and he didn't know who took it away, but the ring of 10,000 techniques is still there. No one knows it. Chapter 0845-Things are different. Luhan, who had recovered, lay in the coffin and did not break out of the coffin immediately. He was thinking, after all, 10 years have passed. 10 years ago, he left too many traces in the world of shinobi, resulting in a shock that engulfed shinobi. The butterfly effect of the world, although because of historical inertia, even if many things are affected by him, what should happen will still happen, but after all, there will be different. Luhan knew nothing about the current ninja world. A friend of 10 years ago may now be an enemy. Is Uchiha Madara still alive? Has he passed his will to Uchiha Obito and then died from Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path? Still none. Is Tsunade still in Konoha? When exactly did Orochimaru betray Konoha? And Akatsuki? Luhan thought about it a lot. If all the conditions were right, the first thing he would do after his resurrection would be to find Tsunade and the child, and then to take charge of Konoha again, to settle the Third Ninja War, and to ensure peace in the ninja world. Then he hibernated in Konoha. Devote himself to cultivation, and when his strength reaches a new height, he will complete the goal of subverting the world by ruling the ninja world. However, even if I think about it with my feet, it can't be so smooth. More importantly, the upper limit of the strength of the Third Ninja War is higher than that of the Second Ninja War. Madara passed on his abilities to the young Obito. Nagato rises, and the name of Namikaze Minato is frightening. Lao I can spend 10,000. Luhan can be said to be the king of an era during World War II, but in the Third World War, it is a little worse. It's a pity, I didn't find Konan Nagato and the others 10 years ago. Offending so many people, so many enemies. Luhan thought, and after sighing, he calmed down and opened the Insight map. The Insight map covers a radius of 10 kilometers, and the coffin cannot be buried too deep, so normally, Luhan used the Insight map at this time, and the detected ninjas should all be on the surface. There are a total of 12 orange names, and the number is very small. 2 of them were very close to where Luhan was, less than 100 meters away. Because of their orange names, Luhan couldn't see their names and strengths. Luhan thought for a while, took out the black metal mask, put it on his face, and disappeared into the coffin. In the forest under the moon, candles flickered everywhere in the tombs. It is not yet spring, although the forest trees are evergreen. The night wind is very cold, adding a bit of bleak feeling to the tomb of the hero where mourning is placed. The largest tomb in the Tomb of Heroes is naturally the Tomb of Hangwang. The tombstone is higher than the others. Some words are engraved on the tombstone: Tomb of Konoha Hangwang, Wife Tsunade, Wife Hyuga Luo Ningli. A black-clothed figure wearing a mask appeared out of thin air in front of the tombstone, silently. Luhan knew where he was as soon as he appeared, the Tomb of the Heroes in the back mountain of Konoha village. This group of tombs has generally not changed much, except that there are 4 new tombs, including the Tomb of Hangwang. Looking at the cemetery where he was buried, Luhan felt a strange feeling in his heart. There were offerings in front of the tombstone, some fruits, cakes, and 5 or 6 unburned candles. Today is my death day. Luhan reacted, and his face immediately became very strange. Talking about his death day is like cursing himself to death. In the back right of the Hangwang tomb, 5 or 6 meters away, there is a large tomb, which is also a new tomb built in the past 10 years, the Tomb of Inuzuka Tears. The date of burial is written on the tombstone, in March of the 37th year of Konoha. It seems that after my death, Konoha went into trouble, even Lord Lei. Luhan looked at the other new tombs again, and he saw Hyuga Haeyoung's tomb, which was buried on the same day as Inazukale, which was a bit strange. Because the Hyuga family is a big family and has a family cemetery. As Hyuga Haeyoung, if they die in battle, they should also enter their ancestral graves. Of course, it doesn't mean that you can't be buried here. It is also an honor to be able to enter the hero's tomb after death. Lu Han looked at another new tomb more than 10 meters away on the left, and his expression froze. Tomb of White Fang. Because the burial date was not written, Lu Han didn't know when White Fang died, but his intuition told Lu Han that White Fang was likely to follow the old path in the original book, and the possibility of dying in battle was very low. Of course, he could not be sure. But Lu Han's heart was suddenly congested and panicked. Is historical inertia really that big? Is this the fate of White Fang? Are all tombs of old friends, and the feeling of being different from others is on Lu Han's heart? 10 years. Everything has changed. Ding! Subversive 3665 is in a state of extreme hunger. The voice of the elf appeared in Lu Han's ears. He had just been resurrected, his body had grown again, and his stomach was empty. As a subversive, Lu Han's hunger will not decline, he will not starve to death, but he will only lose blood. Forced to lose a little blood, then increase a little, then drop, and then increase, and so on. Let's eat first. Lu Han muttered and squatted down, picked up the peaches in the offering fruit bowl, and took a big bite. Full of sweet juice, delicious. Maybe it was because he was too hungry. Lu Han had never thought that peaches were so delicious. Offering this kind of thing, unless it encounters the hungry, even a child from a poor family will not steal it. It is something for the dead. It is too unlucky to eat, but Lu Han doesn't care, because he is the one who accepts the offering. Dead man. The tree in the distance, the two Anbu ninjas looked at Lu Han with bewildered expressions. When Lu Han appeared, the two people who were hiding in the dark saw it. They didn't know who this person was. Because Lu Han was wearing a mask, they naturally couldn't see it. Even if they were familiar with Lu Han, it was over now. 10 years. But the two did not take the initiative to jump out and do something just because a stranger came. Today is the death day of Lord Hangguang. Come to Matsuri to worship Hangguang, and not only Konoha ninjas. After all, in the Ninja World War, there are not many acquaintances who can take the time to come to Matsuri to worship Hangguang, and more are strangers who come here. Therefore, on this day, no matter who comes to the Tomb of Heroes by any means, even if it is an enemy, as long as he does not destroy it, he came to Matsuri to worship the cold light, and the Anbu ninja will not stop it. But what is this guy doing? He actually stole the offerings. Call. Two figures appeared out of thin air behind Lu Han at the same time, and the sword light suddenly appeared. Chapter 0846_so sad. If it is a Konoha person, Anbu ninja knows, naturally they will not cut a knife, but they do not know this person. The mysterious person is definitely not a Konoha ninja, they will naturally not be polite. Do you dare to steal the offerings from the tomb of Lord Hangguang? Two Anbu ninjas attacked at the same time, and the two daggers attacked in two ways. The speed was outrageous. These two people are very strong. They are definitely the best in Anbu. They are both elite Jonin. There are usually 6 Anbu ninjas guarding the Tomb of Heroes. When someone in the Tomb of Heroes dies, there are 12 people, usually a configuration of 2 elite Jonins and 10 Jonins, and every time the guards near the Tomb of Hangguang are all the strongest among the ninjas stationed in Anbu. The 2 sword lights flashed extremely fast, but only brought a very weak wind sound. The 2 of them were really angry, and they didn't even remind them at all. They attacked with the most secret assassination technique. No matter who you are, cut them first. Cut the air. The 2 thought that this joint attack would directly kill the target, but the man disappeared with his back facing away. 2 Anbu ninjas were shocked and discolored. They avoided the attack in such a ghostly way. This person must have the name of a strong person, and he is definitely not an unknown person. Lu Han quietly sat under the big tree 20 meters behind the 2 of them, watching the backs of the 2 with great interest, holding half a peach in his hand, and took another bite. Crunch. 2 Anbu ninjas turned around at the same time, posing in an alert posture one after the other. It seemed that the two of them had special training and were good at joint strikes. The double kill formation was extremely natural. At this time, the two people who originally had orange names on the insight map changed their names to Yuhi, because they didn't know who the peach-eating powerhouse in front of them was, and they already had the intention to kill. Konoha Assassination Tactics Special Forces 6th Squad Leader, Level 40 Gold Boss, Kobo Rifle. Konoha Assassination Tactics Special Forces 6th Squad Ninja, Level 40 White Silver Boss, Kobo. It's the Kobo brothers. I still remember that when Luhan first joined Anbu, they were still young people in their 20s, but now, they are all middle-aged, and their strength is much stronger, especially the elder brother Kobo, who is the team captain, is far from the super elite. Not too far. Can eyes kill? If you don't consider the pupil technique, pure eyes are impossible. But the eyes can be intimidating. Luhan nibbled at the peaches, his eyes always staring at Kato Kai and Kato Feng. The two dared not move. Luhan's eyes were like a bottomless dark abyss, which gave them extremely terrifying pressure. Not looking at Luhan's the eyes are fine, but as long as I look at it, my heart will be cold. The strength of the Kato brothers is not as strong as that of the strong in the general sense. At this time, when they looked at Luhan, they felt that they had just underestimated the strength of this person, and they felt that they might be killed at any time. It makes you want to vomit blood. Luhan finally finished eating the peach and spit the peach core on the ground, then said, "Yes, there is progress." Kato and Kato Feng glanced at each other. They both felt the voice was a little familiar, but they couldn't remember who the voice belonged to. "Who are you?" Kato asked with squinted eyes. The knuckles of the hand holding the tachi were white, and the horizontal knife was in front of him, looking extremely vigilant. "I didn't hear my voice." "That's right. After 10 years, many memories will fade." Luhan looked at the two brothers who were very close to him when he was in Anbu, and said with emotion, "We knew each other very well, no remember." "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Kato asked again, while giving his brother a subtle wink. In the face of such an invincible enemy, it is usually the elder brother Kato who resists the enemy first, while the younger brother Kato asks for help at the fastest speed. Kato is reminding Kato to get ready, and there is still a few kilometers nearby. There are 10 Anbujanin stationed in various places. If they are called, they should be able to defeat this person. Even if they can't win for a while, they can hold it back and wait for other support. I'll give you a hint. Back then, I used to be a Konoha Anbu ninja. When I first joined Anbu, you were already Anbujanin. Luhan continued, as if he didn't see Kato's small movements. Kato's eyes were a little confused. The voice was familiar, and the figure was somewhat familiar. It should be an acquaintance, but he just couldn't remember. Who was this person? Once a Konoha Anbu ninja. Konoha missing nin. When I joined Konoha Anbu, it was Genin. Luhan said slowly. He wanted to give the Kato brothers time to digest the information. That was 17 years ago, 30 years of Konoha, when you were all young people. I was 12 years old then. I still remember the first few months when I joined Anbu, and I was hailed as a genius because of my incredible strength. We were on a mission to clear missing nin Uchiha Go-Mu together. That year, I was 12 years old. Luhan is not pretending to be mysterious, but the resurrection of the dead will scare people to death. Luhan is not dead without seeing the corpse. He is really dead, and the corpse is turned into a bone, so once he directly confesses his identity and lifts the mask, the Kato brothers will definitely think that someone is posing as Lord Hangguang. There are many kinds of camouflage deformation ninjutsu, some are very low level, some are very clever. Once Luhan is considered to be a fake cold light, he has to fight. However, more Anbu ninjas will come. The more people there are, the harder it is for Luhan to explain, and Luhan is not ready to express his resurrection in public. So, little by little, give them hints and let them think for themselves, so that it can be better accepted. Kato and Kato Feng's faces have become very terrifying. Konoha gave some very critical information. Konoha 30 years. Genin, genius, 12 years old. Among the ninjas who joined Anbu in Konoha's 30 years, only one is Genin, indeed 12 years old, was once hailed as a genius for his explosive strength. That is the cold light. Bullshit. You want to say that you are Lord Hengguang? Kato Kai's face suddenly became extremely angry and mocking. It seems that you know Lord Hengguang very well, and your voice is very similar. Lu Han looked up at the night sky at a 45-degree angle with sad eyes. So sad. Indeed suspected. Chapter 0847-Silent Tears. In the mundane world, regardless of superstition and the issue of demons leaning over, it is very easy for a person who has returned from the dead to prove his identity. Enough. But in the ninja world, everything becomes extremely complicated. Because of the ghost-like ability of ninjutsu, a genin can pretend to be another person with transformation, not to mention some powerhouses who are good at secret techniques, and masters incredible secret techniques of change, and this kind of thing is not just done theoretically, but actually done. Whether in this world or in the original, there are people who have impersonated other people. The most common is to infiltrate an enemy country to spy on intelligence by pretending to be an identity. In the original work, Uchiha Obito once pretended to be Uchiha Madara. Afe was originally a clone of White Zetsu, and Obito also pretended to be. For Lu Han, he is not afraid of any doubts, he just doesn't want to make things bigger, which is not good for him who has just been resurrected. He has limited contact with a few people, so that these people believe that he is Hengguang, but through them find out what happened in this decade, and finally think about what to do. He may have really been an Anbu ninja before. After Kato Kai questioned Lu Han, Kato Feng also reminded in a low voice that only Anbu ninja can understand some things about Hongguang and Konoha Anbu. Don't you think you're stupid? Kato said with a sneer. Lord Hengguang has been dead for 10 years. Back then, I personally carried the coffin for Lord Hengguang. Before he was buried, I personally arranged the remains for Lord Hengguang. Who are you pretending to be? No, dare to pretend to be Lord Hengguang. You are so bold. Lu Han took off his mask directly, revealing a fair and clean face. Kato directly hand seal, with a flash of white smoke on his body. He became exactly the same as Lu Han, but his breath was very unstable. He began to mock Lu Han again. This is what Lord Hengguang looked like 10 years ago. If Lord Hengguang is really alive, I should be 29 years old this year. I'm resurrected, Lu Han said. Kato ripped the corners of his mouth and said nothing. At this moment, Kato Kai looked at Lu Han, as if he was looking at an idiot. Believe you are a ghost. Remember, Akai, when I first entered Anbu, you looked down on me. When I went to the land of water to clear missing Nin, we should have gone directly to the east coast, but I said to go to the land of vortex, because I was worried Tsunade will have an accident. When we were in the land of vortex, we met Kurigakure flying ninja. Lu Han continued to talk about the past. Kato Kai still looked at Lu Han with a sneer, raised his eyebrows and said, the people who know about this kind of thing are not just me and Lord Hengguang. Lu Han frowned. He was thinking, there is something that only he and Kato Kia know, or Kato Feng. It seems. No. Lu Han couldn't remember some gossip in daily life, and it couldn't be used as evidence. It had to be something special or something special. Of course there were, but only 2 people knew about this condition. The relationship between the Kato brothers and Lu Han started as a partner, then as a superior and a superior. It is impossible to do anything too private together. It is not a close friend or a close relative. If it was replaced by White Fang or Tsunade, it would be easy for Lu Han to prove himself. White Fang fought a few times and told Tsunade about the Night of Men and Women, which can prove it, but to Brother Kato. Lu Han wanted to say something, but stopped again, because he noticed Kato's cracked eyes. He really couldn't believe it. For Kato, the current situation can be divided into 2 situations. 1. The person in front of him used to be a Konoha Anbu ninja, or someone related to Konoha Anbu missing Nin. He has thoroughly inquired about the privacy of Lord Hangguang, and he knows many things about Lord Hangguang. Second, the person in front of him is Lord Hangguang, who has been dead for 10 years. Or resurrection. Obviously, the first case is credible, and the second case, whoever believes it is an idiot. What's your purpose of pretending to be Lord Hangguang? Kato asked coldly when he saw that Lu Han didn't speak. Lu Han stared at Kato Kai with dead fish eyes. Fuck. Do you believe you can die? In fact, Lu Han has a more direct way to prove himself, that is to use his big move, Susanoo and Shikatsumiku Dead Bone Pulse fully open, Raiden Thunder style chakra mode is rampant. He is now going to Konoha village, looking for a strong enough strength the acquaintances of, and fight casually. Konoha will definitely believe that Hangguang is resurrected, but this way. The news can't be concealed. This incident will cause a sensation in the ninja world, and Uchiha Madara will also know. This is very bad for Lu Han. Because now Lu Han's sudden resurrection is an opportunity for him. If only a few trusted people knew that he was resurrected, he could do it in secret. The two things he wanted to do most right now, one was to find Tsunade, and the other was to kill Uchiha Madara. Both of these things are suitable to be done in secret, especially the killing of Uchiha Madara. If Uchiha Madara is told that Hangguang is resurrected, he will probably hide, and it will be difficult for Lu Han to find him. Since Lu Han is in the dark, Uchiha Madara will not go to Tsunade for trouble. Temporarily hiding is in the best interest of Lu Han. Lu Han trusted the Kato brothers, so he wanted to confess his identity to them and ask about the current situation in the ninja world, but these two guys didn't believe that Lord Hangguang could be resurrected at all. He also mocked Lu Leng coldly. So aggrieved. Silent and 2 tears. Forget it. Lu Han sighed and disappeared. There is no need to prove to them that they believe it or not. Kato and Kato Feng both breathed a sigh of relief, but they did not let their guard down. Kato shoved his hand into his mouth, blew a loud whistle, and then said to his younger brother Kato Feng, "You go and report to Lord Hokage, someone pretends to be Lord Hangguang. He ran away after being exposed by us, and he is likely to deceive others." Quote. Half a kilometer away, on a towering tree, Lu Han stepped on the branches and looked at the dimly lit tomb of heroes. "Elf, I have the ability to resurrect now, right?" Lu Han asked in his heart. "Yes, Disruptor 3665 currently has an exclusive finishing ability, Resurrection." "Then can I resurrect White Fang?" "It's Hitaki Sakumo, he's been dead for a long time." Lu Han asked again. "It's very difficult," said the elf. Lu Han's eyes lit up. What he said was very difficult, not impossible. Chapter 0848-Individual Life. Exclusive and Ability Resurrection. Calculate the total strength of the subversive, permanently deplete 10% of the strength, and resurrect an individual life. The resurrection ability on Lu Han's attribute interface. Except for the cost of resurrection, the rest is vague, and it does not say what kind of life form is resurrected. After all, even a tailed beast can be regarded as a kind of life form. White Zetsu clone is also a kind of living body. If I want to resurrect a powerful ninja, is the price the same? Lu Han asked inwardly. Yes, at the cost of 10% of the strength, whether it is an ordinary person, a ninja, a baby, an elderly person, or an extremely powerful being, the price is the same. Elf said. Then, are there any other conditions? Yes, because individual life is a broad concept, a chicken is also an individual life, so is a dog, a bird ninja beast, a powerful tailed beast, an ordinary human, a ninja, an old man who is about to end his life, even a puppet life, some kind of life. Plants with strong vitality are regarded as an individual life. Elf continued, Subversive 3665 resurrects any individual life. The price is the same, but the conditions are different. For example, if Subversive 3665 wants to revive an old man who has reached the end of his lifespan, he must revive him within 1 minute of the old man's death, otherwise the old man who just died has already returned to the kingdom of heaven, and there is no possibility of resurrection. End of life is a unique form of death. And if the subversive wants to revive the killed middle-aged man, it also depends on the state of the person's death. If the person is burned to ashes, the subversive must use the resurrection ability within 1 minute, otherwise the soul fly away, and there is no physical traction, over time will lose the possibility of resurrection. Quote, if the killed person leaves a body, the host will have 7 days to revive it, and after 7 days there will be no chance. Lu Han seemed to understand a little. The elf mentioned that the old man who had reached the end of his life and the middle-aged man who was killed were all related to the soul. Isn't it possible that as long as the soul is still in the ninja world and hasn't returned to the kingdom of heaven, it is possible for me to resurrect it? Lu Han asked, and immediately added, by the way, there must be a corpse. Theoretically, yes, but not absolutely. Then, the one who was killed. Those who were killed were unwilling. Only a few held the belief of mortal death, or had the idea of sacrificing one's own life. Such people will return to the kingdom of heaven after death, but most of the people who were killed, they will not let go of their worries, and if they cannot let go of their thoughts, they will become lonely ghosts. Quote, then what about suicide? Those who commit suicide will not return their souls to the kingdom of heaven. They have sorrow in their hearts and cannot escape. Then White Fang. Lu Han wanted to ask again, but he stopped immediately, because he didn't know how White Fang died at all. The way of death was very important. What if White Fang died of illness? After all, this Hokage world is different from the Hokage world in the original book. Not knowing how White Fang died or when White Fang died, no matter how much Lu Han asked the elves, he couldn't be sure how to resurrect White Fang, and he might not really resurrect White Fang. Even if he has the ability and meets all the conditions, he still needs 19% of his strength to revive White Fang. It is not easy to cultivate, and Lu Han has been unable to make rapid progress, because there are no first kills below level 70 bronze, and he has one too many before. Yuanbao, the explosion rate has been reduced to an outrageous level. It is easy to pay 10% of the strength, but it is difficult to cultivate back. Although he has a very strong will to resurrect White Fang, he also has to consider whether it is worth it. When he came to this world, he knew too many people. He had enemies all over the world, and friends all over the world. His father-in-law Hyuga Haeyong was still in the grave. Should he resurrect them? Who should be resurrected? Should he be resurrected? This is all worth it question of thinking. In the dark forest, Lu Han stood on a high place and stared in the direction of the hero's tomb for a long time. Brother Kato doesn't believe him, so there is no need for him to disturb him. He will sneak into Konoha village, change his identity, and inquire about the situation, and it won't take long. I don't know if Tsunade is in Konoha or not. If he is, it will be easy. Hokage office in Hokage building. 55-year-old Sarutobi Hiruzen sat behind his desk, his half-white hair combed meticulously, the lamp emitting a dim yellow light, reflecting on his serious side face. The night was dark. Sarutobi Hiruzen was still busy. Not long ago Anbuhi just sent a batch of frontline intelligence, and he didn't want to wait until tomorrow to deal with it. Hum. The lamp suddenly dimmed, turned on again, dimmed again, flashed 5 or 6 times, and then went out completely. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the lamp with dissatisfaction, then raised his head and said, "Someone, fix it." Immediately, a ninja entered the door, skillfully disassembled the lamp and replaced it with a new light bulb. This thing was only invented in recent years. In the current ninja world, electricity has been widely used, mainly for military use, while electric lights belong to the category of luxury goods. It can only be used, but in the world of ninjas, it is affordable, but many people still don't believe in this thing and are unwilling to use it. The lamp turned on again, and the ninja who changed the light bulb also retreated. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned at the information. Report. Kato Feng's voice sounded outside the door. Come in. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up. Kato Feng pushed in the door and walked quickly to the desk. Lord Hokage, just at the Tomb of Heroes, someone came. He wanted to pretend to be Lord Hangwang. He also ate offerings. And then, after being exposed, he left. Already sent someone to look for it, but Sarutobi Hiruzen listened, frowning gradually. Someone ran over to pretend to be Cold Light. A person whose height, body, voice and appearance are exactly the same as Han Guang 10 years ago, claiming to be Han Guang, saying that he is resurrected. P.S. By the way, although the issue of Ninja World technology is somewhat inconsistent, it is like this in the original book. Konoha has even had a computer monitor for 60 years. Now that there are lights, there should be no problem. Chapter 0849-Big Boy and Little Boy. Someone pretending to be Hangwang is really a big or small thing. In a big way, someone wants to swindle in the name of Hangwang, which may lead to disaster. After all, Hangwang is the most famous ninja in history. Even if he has already in the 10 years since his death, there were countless people who admired him in the whole ninja world, and his enemies were countless. He still had many relatives and friends who lived in the ninja world, and many of them stood at the peak of the ninja world. Terrifying existence. But then again, who would believe it? To put it mildly, this is a joke that is not funny. At least to Sarutobi Hiruzen, this is really a joke. He is already convinced that Han Guang is 100% dead, because when he returned to Konoha, he personally inspected the body of Han Guang who had been buried for a month. To know the cause of Han Guang's death. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a while, then shook his head, raised his hand and said, "I see, let's go." My subordinates retire. Kato Fung respectfully saluted, then turned and left. Sarutobi Hiruzen just picked up the pen, and suddenly frowned again. He thought of a possibility. His eyes widened a lot, and Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up and said, "Wait. Lord Hokage." Kato stopped and turned around. "Are there any cracks in his face?" Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. "No. Oh, it's all right." Sarutobi Hiruzen relax, not impure world reincarnation. He suddenly shook his head and smiled again, feeling that he was thinking too much. Even if someone resurrected Han Guang with impure world reincarnation, how could he have direct contact with them? Besides, impure world reincarnation, the forbidden technique, is forbidden to practice even in Konoha. The possibility of outsiders being able to learn it is very small, and the possibility of being able to learn it is basically zero. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought about someone pretending to be Han Guang, but he didn't take it to heart. Cold, why don't you pretend to be Senju Hashirama? A thing that no one believes when it is said, it does not need to spend too much energy to pay attention to it. At the same time, another place in Konoha village, a mansion in the forest. Luhan walked to the gate of the house on the dead leaves that were rolled in the wind. The plaque of Hangwang's former residence was hung on the gate of the house. There were some weeds growing on the gate, and there was some patina on the gate. Luhan raised his head and frowned at this. Somewhat different. This house has been rebuilt, and even the position of the gate is half a meter to the left. Luhan appeared in the house. In fact, he already knew that Tsunade was not in Konoha village, nor was Hyuga Luoning. There were only orange dots on the Insight map, and there were tens of thousands of them. Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning were both green names. It shows that there is no one near the mansion in the forest, and it has been abandoned. Although he knew that no one lived in this house, Luhan still wanted to come back and have a look. Pushing open the door of the main building, the moonlight spilled into the house, and dust was everywhere. It seemed that no one had lived in it for a long time. However, because this building was not completely destroyed in the battle, it was only damaged and repaired. So this building still feels familiar and friendly to Luhan. Luhan came to the bedroom on the second floor. He simply tidied up the room, took out some food from the space backpack, ate some while standing by the window in front of the moonlight, and watched the scenery outside the window for a long time. Finally, he returned to the squat and slept with his clothes on. I don't know how long it has been since Tsunade left Konoha. It's impossible to judge by falling dust, because even if no one cleans here every day, someone should come to clean it every New Year. With complicated thoughts, Lu Han fell asleep. On a new day, as the sun rose, Konoha, who had been silent all night, began to roar again. During the war, Konoha was under military rule, but did not block the village to prohibit trade. The Third Ninja World War is different from the Second Ninja World War. The Second World War was fought very fiercely, and the Third World War is considered to be the aftermath of World War II, and it is a continuation. Since it is the aftermath, it is definitely not as intense as World War II. Actually, it is. Although more countries participated in the Third World War, in addition to the 5 major countries, even some small surrounding countries were encouraged to participate in the war, but there were very few large-scale battles, and there were only a handful of battles involving 10,000 people, most of which were small-scale. Conflict, the battle of 1 or 2,000 ninjas is the norm. This has a lot to do with the participation of small countries in the war. The more forces participating in the war, the more the situation of division. Perhaps it was because World War II left so profound lessons for all countries that during the Third World War, all parties did not dare to kill too hard. During the Second Ninja World War, the largest battle was on the battlefield of the Kingdom of Rain. At that time, the 5 forces of sand, rain, soil, rock, and iron invested a total of nearly 30,000 troops. It is impossible for this situation to occur in the Third War. The Konoha village is bustling with people coming and going. Affected by the war, at this time, there were not many foreign businessmen in the downtown area of Konoha. Most of the people who came and went were Konoha residents. Counting ordinary people, there were tens of thousands of residents in Konoha. These people are enough to form a completed social system. So even if there is a war outside, the Konoha village, which can't help but do business, should be lively and lively. Is it delicious? Then eat more. A big boy about 8 or 9 years old and a little boy who is only 4 or 5 years old are walking on the street. The big boy has his hands behind his head and looks very leisurely, while the little boy is eating and holding a candy bag in his arms. The little hand kept grabbing inward and put the halva into his mouth, looking very greedy. It's too much to eat. The little boy suddenly said in distress. Then take it back, hide it, don't be seen by the patriarch, it will be confiscated. The big boy said. On the side of the street, on the 13-story tower, Lu Han dressed in a mysterious dress stood on the eaves and looked down at the street below. He just wanted to find some acquaintances, and soon noticed the 2 who looked like brothers. The child raised his eyebrows slightly. These 2 children are of the Uchiha tribe, and both left a very strong mark in the original work, especially the little one, who is an indispensable and important character in the original work, and has a very high popularity. He also has a younger brother. Is one of the protagonists of the original. Big boy a few years older, Uchiha Shisui. A 4-year-old boy, Uchiha Itachi. Chapter 0850 possibly a spy from another country. Uchiha Itachi seems to be a little young. At this age, he should have just started cultivating. I don't know if he has enrolled in a ninja school. The ordinary children in Konoha village are enrolled at the age of 5 or 6, but geniuses are always exceptions. And Uchiha Itachi is a genius among geniuses. On the street, 2 boys, one big and one small, walked eastward talking and laughing. Lu Han stood on the eaves of the tower and looked down with a strange expression on his face. What's weird is the identity information displayed above Uchiha Itachi's head. Uchiha clan young patriarch, Uchiha Itachi. His father is the patriarch, and his father is Uchiha Fugaku. Historical inertia is really terrifying. Uchiha Fugaku has completely lost his power, and he can still become the patriarch. Is Uchiha Leiyang dead? Lu Han guessed in his heart, and his eyes kept chasing after Uchiha Itachi. Regarding Uchiha Fugaku, Lu Han used to hate him very much, but what he hated was the young, frivolous and playful Uchiha Fugaku. According to the normal historical trend, after Uchiha Fugaku is fully mature, he is not a villain, but a very positive person. But Lu Han did not agree with this sentence, otherwise the word prodigal son would be meaningless. In the original biography, Uchiha Fugaku took the initiative to let Uchiha Itachi kill himself after knowing that the tribe was going to rebel, and at that time, he had already opened Mangekyo Sharingan. Did he marry Makoto? Lu Han thought of the girl who smiled softly again, and immediately shook his head again. No. If there is no Lu Han, Uchiha Fugaku will definitely marry Uchiha Makoto, but because there is Lu Han in this world, Uchiha Makoto and Uchiha Fugaku are completely separated. Among the factions within the Uchiha tribe, since Uchiha Ieyasu came to power, the two have been completely different in tit for tat. Among the factions, it can be said that the situation is the same. They have no chance of being together. After Uchiha Fugaku takes the position, it is more likely to kill Uchiha Makoto. Master Minato! The boy's exclamation suddenly rang out from the street. It was Uchiha Shisui. He seemed to have seen something extraordinary. After exclaiming, he dragged the little guy Uchiha Itachi and ran over to say hello. On the other side of the street, at the door of the gift shop, a young blonde man walked side by side with a slim girl. Konoha S-Class Indie Quest Ninja, Namikaze Minato. Konoha 4th Generation Kyubi, Nine Tails People Jinchuriki, Column Force, Uzumaki Arena. Namikaze Minato is 23 years old this year. He is handsome and charming, and the girl beside him, if Lu Han remembers correctly, Uzumaki Arena is 18 this year, when 12 years ago, Konoha 3 years ago, after Lu Han brought Wu-Wei King Mu back to Konoha, he looked for a suitable person in the village, Jinchuriki, Column Force. Uzumaki Arena was the only suitable candidate, but Lu Han rejected her for his own plan. Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Arena seem to be a couple. They stand together, they are really talented. Namikaze Minato is calm, while Uzumaki Arena is a little shy. Terrible historical inertia, Lu Han muttered to himself. If nothing goes wrong, Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Arena will get married in the second half of the year. Uzumaki Naruto will be born in October next year, and on that day, Uchiha Obito will come to seize Kyubi, Nine Tails, and then attack Konoha. Kushina was replaced by Arena. Where did Kushina go? While Lu Han was thinking about it, on the street below, Uchiha Shisui dragged the little guy and ran to Namikaze Minato's side. Shisui, why didn't you go to school today? Namikaze Minato smiled and touched Shisui's head. I am on vacation today, Shisui said cautiously, and then asked boldly, Minato-sama, do you have any assignments today? I can't say it. Namikaze Minato shook his finger with a smile. Seeing that Uchiha Shisui admires Namikaze Minato, who already has the name of Shining, and Uchiha Itachi, because he is too young, doesn't know much yet, but also stares at Namikaze Minato with bright eyes. Hokage-sama is waiting for us. Uzumaki Arena whispered to Namikaze Minato. Yeah, Namikaze Minato nodded, trying to get rid of the entanglement of the two little brats. Suddenly, he seemed to feel something, and suddenly looked up. Four eyes facing each other. Namikaze Minato saw the figure in black on the eaves of the tower. Under the dark mask, his eyes were as calm as stagnant water. It's not surprising that there are people upstairs. Many Konoha ninjas like to come and go, and the same is true of Legion ninjas or Anbu ninjas who perform patrol tasks, but Namikaze Minato can feel it. The person above is not a Konoha ninja. Very strange. Lu Han and Namikaze Minato looked at each other for a few seconds, then disappeared. He had little to do with Namikaze Minato before. 30 years after Konoha, Lu Han came to the ninja world. At that time, Namikaze Minato was 6 years old and was still studying at the ninja school. At 37 years of Konoha, Lu Han died. Namikaze Minato was 13 years old and just became Chunin. He was already known as a super genius, but Lu Han still haven't been in contact with him. You have to work hard. With your talent, Shisui, you might be able to become Hokage in the future. I don't want to be Hokage. Oh, why? I want to become a ninja as powerful as Lord Hangwang. Ha, Lord Hangguang is also Hokage. Is that so? It's still a Hokage then. Minato-sama, are you going to be a Hokage too? I will become a ninja as powerful as Lord Hangguang. Namikaze Minato encouraged Uchiha Shisui with a few words, then took Uzumaki Arena away and walked towards the Hokage building. It was not until the two of them were far away that Shisui was relieved, no longer nervous, and chatted with the little guy Itachi about growing up, on the cold light, on the topic of Hokage. ... Forest path. You go first. Namikaze Minato stopped abruptly. What's wrong? Uzumaki Arena asked in confusion. There was someone just now. I have to go and see. Namikaze Minato made a special gesture to Uzumaki Arena, a very strong guy, maybe a spy from another country. Then be careful. Uzumaki Arena smiled sweetly, not looking worried. Namikaze Minato nodded, dodging away. Chapter 0851 What are you looking at? With Namikaze Minato, Uzumaki Arena hurried to the Hokage building and met Sarutobi Hiruzen in the Hokage office. Just you. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up and was stunned. Where's Minato? Minato has found some problems. Spies from other countries are very difficult. Uzumaki Arena smiled, very well behaved, and asked cautiously, Lord Hokage, Minato has a mission, do you want to go out? Yeah. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded without saying much, then raised his finger to the sofa not far away. Sit and wait for him to come over. ... Konoha Police Force, Police Building. The number of people entering and leaving the building is not too many, not too few. Konoha has a population of tens of thousands. Even if foreign enemies are not considered, there are many internal security problems, such as theft, robbery, commercial fraud, neighbor disputes, or murder, etc. These all problems are managed and handled by the police force in charge of the Uchiha tribe. Beside the grove outside the police building, Luhan crossed his arms and leaned against the tree, observing the gate of the police building. He came here to find out two things, Uchiha Fugaku's patriarch identity, and where Uchiha Makoto went. He plans to investigate Konoha for 10 days, and learn about the current situation of the ninja world through Konoha. After that, he will leave Konoha and go to find Tsunade. If there is a clue to Uchiha Madara, he may go to Uchiha Madara first, and now, he is here now. The observation from the police building is just a small thing in the plan. Just look. After observing for a full hour, some Uchiha ninjas had noticed Luhan, who was dressed mysteriously next to the grove, but no one came forward to ask questions. Perhaps Luhan was too calm, showing a clear conscience that he did not hide or hide. The other party probably regarded him as a Konoha Anbu ninja. Bastard. You bitch. Why are you arresting me? Damn it. What did I do wrong? On the side road of the police building, two Uchiha ninjas, a man and a woman, were leading a middle-aged man with blood on his face to the direction of the building. Scolding. On the top of the head, there is a message that this is a businessman from Konoha village, and it is unknown why he was arrested. Shut up. The male ninja named Uchi Namikaze slapped the businessman on the back of the head, staggering him and nearly falling. The Uchi Namikaze flag looks like she is in her 20s. She has a slender body wrapped in a blue-gray ninja uniform. She has a graceful appearance. Yuhi followed the businessman without saying a word. Uchiha Makoto, she is 27 years old this year. Bitch, why don't you talk? What about your man? Don't you have a lot of men? Bitch. The businessman was still scolding, his scolding harsh. Uchi Namikaze flag almost all the way into the police building, and Uchiha Makoto, always silent. Luhan looked at it and frowned slightly. The businessman scolded Uchiha Makoto. Even if his head was beaten with blood, Uchiha Makoto looked aggrieved and insisted. What happened? Even businessmen and criminals who are not ninjas dare to scold the ninjas of the Uchiha tribe. What happened in these 10 years? Luhan suddenly narrowed his eyes slightly. 5 seconds later. What are you looking at? A deep voice suddenly sounded behind Luhan. What happened to Uchiha Makoto? Luhan asked without looking back, as if talking to a friend. You know her. I met a long time ago. You haven't been to Konoha in years. Yeah, it's been so many years, what a big change, alas. Luhan sighed and turned to look at the blonde figure standing 10 meters away, holding Hiraishin's back, Namikaze Minato. Who are you? Namikaze Minato looked at Luhan warily. He had lost track of him before, and after searching for an entire hour, he found Luhan, who was not hidden, here. Namikaze Minato already had a very good understanding of the strength of this mysterious man in front of him. High rating. Wreak havoc on Konoha before he was caught. Yesterday I told people who I am, but they didn't believe me. If I told you today, you probably wouldn't believe me either. Luhan said lightly, and glanced at Hiraishin kunai in Namikaze Minato's hands. Namikaze Minato Master Hiraishin is not surprising, but Luhan doesn't know whether he is Master Rasengan now. In this world, Rasengan was created by Luhan, not by Namikaze Minato, so, did Namikaze Minato create other techniques, or? Go back with me, if you're not an enemy, I'll let you go. Namikaze Minato said coldly, and said it very directly. At the same time, the orange name on his head suddenly turned into a fresh Yuhi color, and at the same time, his strength level was increased. Konoha's level independent quest ninja, level 70 bronze boss, Namikaze Minato. This guy really pervert. The high level of strength startled Luhan, as if something was wrong. Yuhi name now. If Luhan catches him without hesitation, he will definitely do it. Ha! Luhan smiled and disappeared. Namikaze Minato dodged and disappeared at the same time. Luhan appeared in the depths of the woods, turned into a shadow and moved quickly, but he heard a whistle. Hiraishin Kulu directly killed Luhan. Namikaze Minato appeared behind Luhan in an instant, just about to shoot. Luhan quickly accelerated, and then again disappear. The two chased and fled, and quickly moved out of the village. Not that Luhan doesn't want to fight Namikaze Minato, it's interesting to try his strength, but he can't fight in Konoha village, and Namikaze Minato also realizes this. In the village, the biggest loss will be Konoha, so he also has reservations. Namikaze Minato was very shocked. Judging from the speed of the mysterious man, his strength was absolutely terrifying. Such a mysterious powerhouse, if he wants to destroy the village, Konoha will be easy to kill him, but the price will be very high. Short while later, 30 kilometers west of Konoha village, in the endless forest. Kai _ An air-breaking sound resounded from behind Luhan. Namikaze Minato was no longer reserved, and instantly appeared behind Luhan, with a dazzling light in his hand, and smashed fiercely at Luhan's shoulder. Rasengan. Chapter-0842-You fart. Luhan made a movement that almost violated the principles of physics during the rush. Ignoring the inertia, his body suddenly stopped moving forward, twisting his waist and swinging his arms. His hands also lit up with a dazzling light. Namikaze Minato's eyes widened instantly. Obviously the Rasengan in Luhan's hand shook his heart. Although Luhan made the last shot, he was faster. The speed of Namikaze Minato refers to the speed of his body formed by the technique of Hiraishin, not the speed of his shots. Luhan's arm that can shoot thousands of times in a second is not something he can compare. LV9 Ultimate Rasengan vs Rasengan. Boom _ The rays of light exploded, and a terrifying shock wave swept across the forest. The two flew backwards at the same time. The tearing force formed by the bombing destroyed a large area of the forest, the ground rolled and cracked, and the trees were washed into pieces. After the smoke and dust passed, Luhan and Namikaze Minato were 100 meters apart. There was a big pit between them, and all the trees inside and outside the pit were destroyed. PFF'd. Namikaze Minato spurted blood directly. He was injured and looked at Luhan in disbelief. The two of them flew out at the same time just now. Luhan took the initiative to retreat to avoid the shock wave, while Namikaze Minato was sent flying. He was careless. In fact, it can't be said to be careless, because he didn't expect that there is still a Master Rasengan in this world. This technique, after the death of Lord Hangwang, has been lost. Rasengan used by the man in black has a power that is not inferior to that used by Lord Hangwang. You haven't been injured for a long time, haven't you? There was a smile in Lu Han's voice. Why are you Rasengan? Namikaze Minato stared at Lu Han. I should ask you this, why are you Rasengan? Lu Han asked rhetorically. A hint of confusion flashed in Namikaze Minato's eyes. Why did he Rasengan? This matter is not a secret in Konoha, nor is it a secret in the entire ninja world. This guy doesn't know. 9 years ago, I deduced the operation method of Rasengan through the battle images left by Lord Hangwang, and realized the cultivation. Namikaze Minato said, it is not a secret, naturally there is nothing that can't be said. Genius! Lu Han exclaimed. In the original book, Namikaze Minato created Rasengan by observing Tailed Beast Bomb's inspiration. In this life, he realized Rasengan through Lu Han's Rasengan, and there is nothing wrong with it. Moreover, Lu Han gave him more direct inspiration, so he cultivated earlier. You haven't answered me yet, why are you Rasengan? Namikaze Minato asked, intuitively telling him that the person in front of him had a great relationship with Lord Hangwang. I created it, Lu Han confessed. You fart. Hey, how do you scold people? That Namikaze Minato was very excited. Lu Han couldn't understand Namikaze Minato's brain circuit. If you don't guess I'm Hangwang, it's okay to just scold people. This technique is obviously created by Lord Hangwang. Before it was used by Lord Hangwang, no one has ever used it. How dare you say it was created by you? Shameless. Actually, don't say it anymore. You want to say that this technique was taught to Lord Hangwang by you, right? You are farting. You can never insult Lord Hangwang. Hey, you're talking about it. I haven't. Stop talking. The excited Namikaze Minato interrupted Lu Han again, wiped the blood from his mouth with the back of his hand, and then ran away. The rampant Namikaze Minato was also very dashing, with smooth movements, but Lu Han still found it annoying, because Namikaze Minato wanted to beat him. Whoosh! Struck out, Namikaze Minato instantly arrived at Lu Han's side. Namikaze Minato disappeared on the spot, appeared in front of Lu Han, and held Kuwu back and slashed towards Lu Han's ribs with extreme speed. There was also a kunai in Lu Han's hand, and he fought against Minato's kunai. Namikaze Minato flashed behind Lu Han again. Rasengan lit up in his hand and slammed down, but Lu Han turned slightly to the side, dodging the attack at the same time. Kunwui turned, and paddled towards Namikaze Minato's elbow. Namikaze Minato hurriedly closed in shock, his waist twisted and disappeared again, and after another flash, he appeared behind Lu Han again, and Rasengan swept across. Hiraishin kunai flew around Lu Han. Namikaze Minato disappeared and appeared every time, because it was too fast. People thought he was constantly blinking, but in fact, he would grab Hiraishin beside him every time he blinked. Kuwu is thrown out again, just because it is too fast, and it is difficult for people to see clearly. This guy seems to be obsessed, so he attacked Lu Han in two ways, either the kunai attack or the Rasengan attack, up, down, left, right, front and back. Namikaze Minato appeared next to Lu Han again and again, launched attacks again and again, and Lu Han was beside him. There are his shadows everywhere, but he just can't hit Lu Han. The most thrilling time, his Rasengan almost hit Lu Han's back, but because Lu Han's Kuwu stabbed his elbow, if he insisted on attacking, the result would only be that his arm would be cut off first, so he could only dodge. This time it looks tepid, but in a very fast-paced battle, Namikaze Minato is very frustrated. Namikaze Minato is not only capable of this, he has more powerful abilities. Hiraishin and Rasengan cooperate with all the big moves. It's useless, but he has no scruples. He can't kill people for no reason. The man in black before him is not any enemy he knows well, and he is afraid that he can't hold it back. The battle between the two looks like two figures are constantly shaking, sometimes shining, but they are always fleeting, so fast that people can't see clearly. Lu Han felt a very familiar feeling in Namikaze Minato. He thought for a while before realizing where he was familiar. Namikaze Minato is like cold light. His application of the technique of Hiraishin and Rasengan has the shadow of cold light. This guy's cultivation path has been completely affected by the cold light. Forget it, if you can't beat me, I know what you're going to do next. Luhan suddenly said. At the same moment, he escaped, appeared 100 meters away, and looked at him with playful eyes. Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato's face was stern, and after a short pause, his whole body was shaken, and a terrifying chakra wave burst out. His right hand was quickly raised, and the enlarged version of Rasengan quickly took shape. Luhan was shocked. This guy uses Big Ball Rasengan. Chapter 0853-Luhan vs Enhanced Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato actually created Big Ball Rasengan. This technique was created by his son Uzumaki Naruto in the original work, and it was Uzumaki Naruto who achieved the reputation of Rasengan, while Namikaze Minato achieved the reputation of Hiraishin. It is also very interesting to say that the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama created the art of Hiraishin, and it was Namikaze Minato who raised the application of Hiraishin to ultimate, while Namikaze Minato created Rasengan, and it was his son who raised the application of Rasengan to ultimate. And now, because of Luhan's appearance, Luhan created the Rasengan technique earlier, which led to Namikaze Minato's earlier master of Rasengan, giving him more time to develop the potential of Rasengan. With that in mind, it's normal for him to develop a Big Ball Rasengan. It was just a little unexpected for Luhan. The Big Ball Rasengan in Namikaze Minato's hands quickly swelled to 1 meter in diameter. If this is LV6, then its power should not lose to Luhan's LV9 Ultimate Rasengan. I can't replicate the cultivation path of Lord Hengwang on Rasengan. My Rasengan has never been able to exert the power that Lord Hengwang can exert, so I can only make some changes. Namikaze Minato stared at Luhan. His voice was low. He looks really pissed. A strange look flashed in Luhan's eyes, and he couldn't help but ask, do you admire Lord Hengwang very much? He's the hero of Konoha. Namikaze Minato said, then turned into a shadow and rushed towards Luhan, dragging Big Ball Rasengan down on Luhan. Everything is instantaneous. Luhan raised his hand as also Rasengan, LV9 Ultimate Rasengan reappears. Boom _. The terrifying blue light exploded in the forest, as if a huge jade bowl was upside down like a mountain in the forest. Luhan and Namikaze Minato disappeared into the violent shockwave at the same time. The forest was devastated again. Luhan appeared on the edge of the battlefield. The dust-like wind and sand covered the sky and the sun had not yet dissipated. After taking a breath, Namikaze Minato appeared behind Luhan, his voice hoarse because of his eagerness. What are you and Lord Hengwang? Relationship. Quote. He was just testing. He finally determined that the Rasengan displayed by the man in black was really as powerful as Lord Hengwang's Rasengan. This guy has the true biography of Lord Hengwang. A fog appeared in front of Namikaze Minato. He knew who the disciples of Lord Hengwang were. The first one, the five-tailed man Jinchuriki column force Uzumaki Kushina, had been missing for many years, and the second one, Hatake Teishuo, was the feared Anbu captain. The third is the guy called Xiaoai by Lord Hongguang, who is already the fourth generation of Reikage. They all got different skills from Lord Hengwang, but no one was taught the art of Hiraishin. Luhan turned to look at Namikaze Minato with very interested eyes. This Namikaze Minato is different from the original. Because of Master Big Ball Rasengan, he should be stronger than the same period in the original book. It can be said to be an enhanced version of Namikaze Minato. Who are you? Namikaze Minato roared when Luhan didn't speak. Not an enemy. Luhan responded lightly. What are you doing here at Konoha? Namikaze Minato started rambling. Find out some information. Damn spies. Hey, what the fuck? Damn it. I didn't mean to ask for information, hey. Namikaze Minato had already rushed in front of Luhan and attacked again. He didn't know if he was impatient, or he was unconvinced because he couldn't help Lu Han just now. It is estimated that the latter is more likely. This time, Namikaze Minato's attack frequency is faster, and the speed has reached a burst level. The yellow flash is not blown out. His speed is the first in the world. He is really faster than Lu Han. Yes, purely in terms of movement speed, Namikaze Minato is going to surpass Lu Han, because his master of Hiraishin is higher than Lu Han, and even he has the ability to directly leave Hiraishin on the enemy's body, so as to complete the lore that the enemy cannot dodge. But the premise is that he must be able to touch the enemy. He couldn't touch Lu Han at all. Movement speed is not equal to reaction awareness, nor is it equal to attack speed. Every time Namikaze Minato appeared in front of Lu Han, he had to launch an attack before he could form an attack. Whether it was wielding kunai, hitting Rasengan, or attacking with fists and feet, it all took a process and time. Even if this time is very short, it is enough for Lu Han to react. Lu Han crushes Namikaze Minato in terms of skills, reaction awareness, punching and kicking speed, etc. If he enters a state of rage, his speed will not be as fast as Namikaze Minato is slow. Only fast is not broken. There are flaws in this sentence. If you want to break the speed, as long as it is faster than the speed is enough. This is the reason why Namikaze Minato has been unable to beat Lu Han. Lu Han completely restrained him. The speed of melee combat suppresses the speed, and there is no need for the blessings such as Angry Blood State, Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode, Sage Mode, and Physical Magic Power. Han was still able to calmly deal with Namikaze Minato's attack. Of course, in this state, it was extremely difficult for Lu Han to counterattack and damage Namikaze Minato. Neither of the two could do anything to each other. Namikaze Minato who can feel aggrieved. It was Namikaze Minato who regarded Lu Han as a spy and wanted to catch Lu Han. He chased him all the way out of Konoha village. He is really embarrassed. The two fought for another half an hour. Namikaze Minato had searched for various angles to attack Lu Han, trying to find out Lu Han's defense weakness, but no matter which angle or position he appeared in, Lu Han could respond in time, and he would come first, forcing him to withdraw his attack, or fight him to repulse. Forget it, save some energy, I don't want to hurt you, you can't beat me. Lu Han couldn't remember the first time he persuaded Namikaze Minato. Don't underestimate me, Namikaze Minato roared. His proud heart was already dripping with blood. At this moment, Lu Han felt the change of Namikaze Minato's breath. Go big. But see. Namikaze Minato throws Hiraishin Kunai again, followed by Kunai split into 5. Spiral Flash Super Wheel Dance and Roar 3 styles. Chapter 0854 I am the cold light. The Hiraishin Kunai who shot at Lu Han was divided into 5, and the running Namikaze Minato was also divided into 5. The 5 Namikaze Minato appeared in front of and behind Lu Han along with the Kunai. Attack, throw out Hiraishin Kunai again. The 5 Namikaze Minato exchange positions, and attack again with Hiraishin Kunai appearing beside Lu Han in different directions. This is Namikaze Minato's ultimate move, Spiral Flash Super Round Dance and Roar 3 styles. Combining Hiraishin, Shuriken Shadow Clone, and Rasengan together, an extremely complex attack method is formed. It is complicated to say, and the application is also extremely complex, and its power is also extremely terrifying. With this technique, Namikaze Minato rushes into the chaotic army and can kill hundreds of people in an instant. This move is too fast and the attack is too dense. Because it was too fast, many details could not be seen clearly. Even Lu Han could only barely capture some shadows. He didn't use Eternal Mangekyo. It seems that there are countless Namikaze Minatos attacking Lu Han back and forth. Each Namikaze Minato is a golden light, and countless golden lights alternate back and forth. At least 5 of Namikaze Minato's attacks are real. Dazzling golden light. The flickering golden light trapped Lu Han in the middle, and the big ball Rasengan lighted up from time to time, but most of them were attacking without thorns. Within 3 seconds, Lu Han received 48 attacks in a row, and he couldn't hold it anymore. And Luhan didn't have time to open the Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode at all, and he didn't want to use the magic ring to hurt Namikaze Minato. Kai_. A uniquely shaped Hiraishin kunai shot out the golden light range, and the terrifying force instantly sent this kunai into the sky, and Luhan immediately appeared in the sky, with several golden lights flashing back and forth, chasing towards the sky. But can't catch up at all, because the former is too fast. 5 Namikaze Minato appeared at a height of 500 meters, staring at Luhan. 4 of them scattered. Namikaze Minato held Hiraishin kunai in his body, and threw the kunai to the ground, flashing in the forest. Luhan immediately appeared in the forest, playing with the unique Hiraishin kunai in his hand. The reason why Hiraishin kunai is unique is that his Hiraishin kunai is different from Namikaze Minato's. Namikaze Minato gasped violently. In fact, he wouldn't be so tired when he used the Spiral Flash Super Round Dance and Roar 3 styles, with normal attack power, and what he just used on Luhan was not ordinary. He is not using Rasengan, but Big Ball Rasengan. The main body uses Big Ball Rasengan many times in a row, and the chakra consumption is extremely high. Does it look good? Seeing Namikaze Minato staring straight at him, Luhan shook his Hiraishin kunai towards Namikaze Minato. He knew what Namikaze Minato was thinking. This guy can not only know Rasengan, but also the art of Hiraishin. Who is this guy? Who are you? Namikaze Minato's voice was hoarse. Ask and ask again, did I say you believe it? Luhan said impatiently. You tell me first, I'll know if I can believe it. Namikaze Minato was still breathing, but his eyes didn't leave Luhan for a moment. He was observing the Hiraishin kunai in Luhan's hand. This is the technique used by the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama to create the Hiraishin technique. I know Hiraishin, I know Rasengan, who do you say I am? I'm also Hiraishin, I'm also Rasengan, I'm Namikaze Minato. Okay. Luhan took it again. In fact, he is also considering whether to confess his identity to Namikaze Minato, which can make him suspicious, and let him report to the current Hokage, but if he confesses first, Namikaze Minato cannot be trusted. Luhan dared to confess his identities to the Kato brothers because those two people were credible, and Luhan was confident to persuade them to keep their secrets for the time being. But Luhan couldn't convince Namikaze Minato. Ask you a question, you answer me first. Luhan said. Namikaze Minato didn't speak, looked at Luhan, obviously waiting for Luhan to answer. Who is Hokage now? Luhan asked. Namikaze Minato's eyes widened and he looked at Luhan with a ghostly expression. What the hell is this problem? What the hell do you need to ask about something that the whole world knows? How long have you been in seclusion? Namikaze Minato guessed. Looks like I asked an idiot question. Luhan was calm, but I still hope you can tell me. Namikaze Minato was silent for a while and said, Sir Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the terrible historical inertia. It's really terrible. Luhan whispered a few words, although he felt surprised, but still understandable, killing Sarutobi Hiruzen. For Uchiha Madara, it didn't make much sense. After all, it was a long time. The door hasn't grown up yet, and the Moon Eye plan can't be implemented yet. So Uchiha Madara's decision to kill or not to kill Sarutobi Hiruzen is just a choice. Luhan also understood that Uchiha Madara captured Sarutobi Hiruzen, most likely to prepare to deal with him, and used it as a killer at a critical moment, but he died unexpectedly, so he released Sarutobi Hiruzen to prevent the destruction of the Konoha village that lost the most powerful enemies and was full of enemies. A balancing strategy. Who are you? Namikaze Minato asked again. I still have questions. Luhan raised his eyebrows and said, I know that you care so much about my identity because I have a relationship with Han Guang, right? Then I ask you, what kind of person do you think Han Guang is? He is a hero for Konoha. You said this before. He is a great ninja. For Konoha, he was born and died. For his wife, he was not afraid of strong enemies. Although the life of Lord Hangguang is short, it is like a morning star under the night sky. For thousands of years, although there is controversy about the excessive killing of Lord Hangwang in the world, I think that Lord Hangwang has never killed anyone in vain, and every killing he makes represents justice. It's alright, it's too numb, don't talk about it. Lu Han interrupted Namikaze Minato's endless praise, and then said sternly, I am Hangwang. Chapter 0855_annoying. You fart. You don't want to pretend to be Lord Hangwang. Lord Hangwang is definitely not a villain like you. Your master's skills. I also have a master. You think you can pretend to be Lord Hangwang with only 2 skills? You are delusional. For many years previously, the Uchiha tried to steal the Konoha forbidden technique. Where did you get the Hiraishin's technique? Or, you are a Konoha missing nin, right? If it wasn't for the mask, Lu Han really wanted to cover his face with his hands. Damn, I'm just looking for trouble. We all know that people don't believe it, so they have to speak out and scold them. I don't know who to learn from Namikaze Minato's "you fart" mantra. Lu Han gave up his plan to take off his mask. He could still imagine that if Namikaze Minato could see his youthful face, Namikaze Minato would definitely transform himself into his own face through transfiguration, and then start spraying himself with your fart. Looking at the excited Namikaze Minato, Lu Han felt a little weird. Namikaze Minato's reaction was too excited. Lu Han was very helpful with the emotion of trying to defend Lord Hangwang, but it was Lu Han himself who was sprayed. So wronged, silent and 2 tears. Has Konoha deified me? I didn't expect that one day I would become a great man. Lu Han muttered to himself. He doesn't plan to prove himself to Namikaze Minato anymore. After all, resurrection itself is difficult to explain. If it were Tsunade, she would definitely not care how Lu Han was resurrected. She confirmed Lu Han's identity and would not. There are so many questions, but other people are different. They will ask the bottom line, and if there is no suitable explanation, they will always be suspicious. A person who has been dead for 10 years and is not dead without a whole body, but who is buried with a body, even the body has turned into bones, how can it be resurrected? Senju Hashirama is not resurrected, Senju Tobarama is not resurrected, why are you resurrected? How did you get resurrected? You're a liar. Big liar. Still planning. Information first, then go to Tsunade, and then go to Uchiha Madara to take revenge. As for the trouble that Namikaze Minato may cause, just let him go, anyway, no one will believe it. Forget it. Lu Han sighed and disappeared. Lu Han galloped through the forest, and soon raised his brows. Namikaze Minato is catching up. Lu Han can't get rid of Namikaze Minato at all. This guy has completed his growth. He is at the best age. He has the fastest speed in the world. Lu Han knows the technique of Hiraishin, so can Namikaze Minato, and his research on the technique of Hiraishin is deeper. Master's more comprehensive. Lu Han accelerated. Namikaze Minato also accelerated. He followed behind Lu Han, did not step forward to attack Lu Han, did not say anything, and looked like he was keeping Lu Han away, as if he was angry with Lu Han. After half an hour, Lu Han has come to a small town in the south of Konoha village. This town is more than 100 kilometers away from Konoha village. Affected by the war, it is somewhat depressed, but there are still many people. But there are not many, there are Daming Palace garrisoned here. Namikaze Minato entered the town with Lu Han. Lu Han found a pub and wanted to find out some news. Namikaze Minato sat at the table at the door and stared at Lu Han. If his eyes could kill, Lu Han would have died 10,000 times. Lu Han had to leave the tavern, then left the town, and continued to run. Namikaze Minato continued to chase. The two met a group of bandits near a small mountain village in the south of the Fire Country. The bandits consisted of a few missing nins with the strength of genin and some samurai, more than 30 people, who had already looted a caravan. The caravan's people have been dead and wounded, and the bandits are sitting on the ground to divide the spoils. There were corpses all over the floor, the smell of blood was thick, and the bandits laughed beside the goods of the caravan. Lu Han killed them all. To be precise, Luhan killed most of them, and the last 7 or 8 people were killed by Namikaze Minato in 1 second. Namikaze Minato, who had killed everyone, still stared at Luhan. Luhan turned around and continued to run. Namikaze Minato continued to chase. After another hour, Luhan couldn't take it anymore. Annoying. Namikaze Minato obviously has a hole in his head. He knows he can't beat him, so he has to follow him. What's the use of following him? Kunai's kill. Except annoying or annoying. This is harassment. It is a pity that there is no modern court here, and justice cannot be served for Luhan. In the jungle. Luhan stopped and turned to look at Namikaze Minato. Who are you? Namikaze Minato asked, staring at Luhan. Luhan grinned. I'm your uncle. Instant burst. Luhan randomly took out a penultimate level sword from his space backpack, and rushed to Namikaze Minato in an instant. The sword light struck Namikaze Minato like a thunderbolt. Namikaze Minato held the kunai back and turned into a shadow, waving the kunai while retreating continuously, connecting with Luhan's 12 knives. The 13th knife, Luhan's knife speed increased tenfold. Boom _. Namikaze Minato didn't even have a chance to throw out Hiraishin kunai, so he could only resist Luhan's attack with Kunwu's hardness. Then he flew out like a cannonball, smashed 5 trees in a row, and bounced back to the ground. Wow, a mouthful of blood. Spray on the grass. If you follow me again, I will hack you to death. Luhan dropped the words, pointed at Namikaze Minato with a knife, and then disappeared again. This time, Namikaze Minato didn't keep up with Luhan. Fear was second, and more importantly. Swordsmanship. Master Hengguang's swordsmanship. It's not right. It may also be the swordsmanship of Lord White Fang. Or the swordsmanship of Lord Taishuo. Lord Taishuo's swordsmanship was inherited by Lord Hengguang. Who is he? Who is he? Quote. ... Noon, Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen walked back and forth anxiously in front of the window, frowning tightly, muttering something in his mouth, his voice low. Namikaze Minato is missing. Or it can't be said to be missing. After all, he hasn't seen anyone for a long time, but Sarutobi Hiruzen is very dissatisfied. Namikaze Minato is not back now. The possibility of an accident is extremely low, but the mission has been delayed. Lord Hokage, let's eat something. Uzumaki Arena entered the office with the food box, and after she finished speaking, she saw Sarutobi Hiruzen raised her hand impatiently, meaning not to eat. Bang! The door was slammed open and a pale Namikaze Minato rushed into the office. Lord Hokage, there is an important situation. Chapter 0856 Sarutobi Hiruzen's suspicion. When Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Namikaze Minato's appearance, he suddenly changed color, not because of what Namikaze Minato said, but by looking at his face, looking at his blood. This is an injury, although it is not a serious injury. Otherwise Namikaze Minato would not be able to move freely, but he was actually injured. It's none of your business, let's go out. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, looking at Uzumaki Arena. Although Uzumaki Arena is a Jinchuriki column force from Kyuubi, Nine Tails, she has a simple personality. Although her talent is not bad, she has Jonin strength at the age of 18, but she is not a high-level Konoha after all. There are many things that she cannot know. Yes, my lord, Uzumaki Arena replied obediently, and gave Namikaze Minato a worried look before going out. Only Sarutobi Hiruzen and Namikaze Minato were left in the office. Let's talk. Sarutobi Hiruzen walked under the table behind the desk and tapped on the table. I met a man. At that time I suspected that he was a spy from another country, and he was very powerful. Namikaze Minato began to tell, starting from meeting Uchiha Shisui. After that, 30 miles away, I tried to catch up with him. He actually knew the Rasengan technique, and his power was not inferior to that of the Rasengan cast by Lord Hengguang. After that, I have been following him. Hiraishin. Sarutobi Hiruzen listened quietly. Even if Namikaze Minato mentioned Rasengan, he didn't have any special reaction. Rasengan is an A-level ninjutsu with a high level of training, but the operation principle is very simple. Unlike other ninjutsu, it also requires a hand seal. Chakra has a special running route in the meridians. These are all unique, but Rasengan, the only change is on hand, all in the light. This has led to some geniuses, as long as they have the heart to observe and try to cultivate, they may succeed in cultivation. This is a technique that is difficult to practice, but has a simple and straightforward operation principle. Therefore, there are other people who can do this kind of art. Sarutobi Hiruzen is not surprised at all. Namikaze Minato became Rasengan in a year without anyone teaching, and cultivated this art to a very high level, and replaced others. Even if the talent is not as good as Namikaze Minato, it takes a little more time to learn. Just that very few people seem to value Rasengan, so Sarutobi Hiruzen has never heard of it. Everyone learns Rasengan like Namikaze Minato, but never heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Sarutobi Hiruzen is calm, Rasengan only. But when Namikaze Minato talks about Hiraishin, he can't be calm anymore. What did you say? Sarutobi Hiruzen stood up suddenly, his face changed with shock. He knows the technique of Hiraishin. Namikaze Minato repeated, his face very solemn. I observed the kunai he used, and the above technique is exactly the same as that used by Senju Hashirama and Hangwang-sama, it is the foundation. The technique. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face changed and changed. The art of Hiraishin has been leaked. This just doesn't make sense. The technique of Hiraishin will never be deduced and practiced without the practice secrets. There is no possibility. Even the Uchiha ninja can see the chakra movement in the caster's body with the ability of Sharingan insight. Possibly stealing. Because the technique of Hiraishin is divided into two parts, the fighting technique is one part, and the induction and instant body is another part. If you want to learn the art of Hiraishin, you must have a secret. You escaped back. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a long time before turning to Namikaze Minato again. No. Namikaze Minato shook his head, the corners of his mouth curved in bitterness. He wounded me and let me come back, and he said. What? He said he was Lord Hongguang. Silence. There was no sound in the office. Namikaze Minato's face was very complicated, while Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression was blank, but his eyes flashed. He remembered that Anbu reported to him last night that someone appeared at the Tomb of Heroes in the back mountain, posing as Cold Light, but was caught by someone familiar with Cold Light. Ninja debunked. It's him. It must be one person. It is impossible for ninjas posing as Cold Light to appear one after another in a short period of time. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face gradually became cloudy and uncertain. He suddenly felt that this matter was very difficult. There were small thieves pretending to be big people. This happened often, and it was possible to deceive ignorant people, but not those who were famous and informative. But if this little thief pretends to be Hangguang, but also master Hiraishin and Rasengan, it's really troublesome. Lord Hokage, remember that Uchiha Leiyang stole Konoha's forbidden technique before he planned the rebellion. Could it be that he got Hiraishin's practice method and passed it on? Namikaze Minato asked, guessing. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at Namikaze Minato and said nothing. Naturally, he wouldn't tell Namikaze Minato that Uchiha Leiyang never stole the Konoha forbidden technique at all. Everything was a shitpot that Konoha's executives had negotiated with Uchiha Leiyang, so that he could kill him. Hangguang's die-hard loyalists should be damned. Who exactly spread the art of Hiraishin? Sarutobi Hiruzen thought to himself. He didn't think that it was really Cold Light, like nonsense. Let's not talk about whether Hongguang can survive. Even if he can, why should Hongguang hide his head and show his tail? Just swaggeringly revealing your identity in Konoha, acting secretly, and saying that he is Hangguang, naturally he is a thief with a conspiracy. Sarutobi Hiruzen pondered over the possibility of Hiraishin's technique leaking out, and this possibility is not impossible. Because some people in Konoha are able to come into contact with the Konoha forbidden technique. Could it be? Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes flashed. and he raised his hand to Namikaze Minato. You go first, take care of your injuries, and then I'll leave these things to Anbu. After Namikaze Minato left, Sarutobi Hiruzen sat back on the chair, tapped the table with his fingers subconsciously, and was silent for a long time. Leakage of Hiraishin's technique than someone pretending to be cold. The former can only mean that someone is going to be detrimental to Konoha, and the latter means that there is something wrong with Konoha. This is the most terrifying. No matter how strong the fortress is, once there is a problem inside, it will fall apart. Someone. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up suddenly. Lord Hokage. A shadow appeared in the corner. Call Orochimaru over here. Chapter 0857_call. Konoha Police Force, Police Building. Luhan came again. He came to see Uchiha Makoto. When Luhan first came to this world, Uchiha Makoto was just a little girl. Now, the 27-year-old Uchiha Makoto is already a charming woman. Luhan still has some special feelings. After all, Uchiha Makoto almost married him back then. If Luhan hadn't died suddenly 10 years ago, Uchiha Makoto could really have been his third wife. However, no if. And Luhan felt that Uchiha Makoto was not doing well. Police building interrogation room. Of the businessman, Bajan, is not over yet. This guy has pleaded not guilty, and his legs have been broken. Although it can be cured, ordinary ninjas can't bear this kind of injury, let alone talk about an ordinary businessman like him. The interrogation method of the Uchiha tribe can be said to be simple and rude, which is also related to Basan's identity. If it is a ninja interrogation, it may be even more cruel. Of course, the Uchiha clan are not wronging good people, they have already mastered conclusive evidence. In the interrogation room, the seriously injured businessman Basan climbed under the chair, looking like he was about to die. Uchi Namikaze Flag and Uchiha Makoto as interrogators, have spent a morning with this guy. Basan just pleaded not guilty. Uchi Namikaze Flag who injured him is already very impatient. If it weren't for Uchiha Makoto here, he would have closed the case long ago now. Ask a fart, just chop it off. Luhan had been listening outside the door for a while, and gradually understood Basan's crime. This guy married a ninja who was wounded and disabled on the battlefield. This ninja was younger than him, but because of his disability, his appearance was very ordinary, and it was difficult to find a good marriage, so he married an ordinary person and gave out all of his own. Save up and do business with Bajan. As a result, a disabled ninja named Water Fragrance died violently a week ago. The Konoha Police Department has mastered conclusive evidence and determined that Basan killed his disabled wife in order to marry him. A little lover raised in a house. The case is very bloody. It's nothing more than a man who was good at rhetoric and married a disabled female ninja for money. After suddenly becoming rich, his heart was spent. His wife was a ninja, and he could not marry a second wife, so he killed him. Poisoned his wife. Bajan pleaded not guilty. Because he knew that as long as he confessed, he would be sentenced to death. Makoto-sama, or else. Uchi Namikaze Flag tilted his head and whispered to Uchiha Makoto, making a gesture, meaning to close the case. Just an ordinary person, even if he pleads not guilty, no one will say anything if he is hacked to death, it just doesn't fit the trial process. Uchiha Makoto's patience also seemed to be exhausted, and he was about to speak. Bitch. You slut. Ha ha ha, Makoto-sama, do you really take yourself as an adult? What about your lovers? Beat me up to make me confess. Shameless. You scum of the Uchiha clan. Man Basan, who was covered in blood, began to curse again. He was deliberately provoking Uchiha Makoto. Because he knew that Uchiha Makoto was the master. Although there have been rumors about her messing with men over the years, she has a soft personality and is known to enforce the law fairly. This is also the reason why he died. Insulting Uchiha Makoto is an aggressive strategy. If Uchiha Makoto convicts him directly, it will confirm his insulting words. As long as he is not directly convicted, put in prison, and then secretly spends money to operate it, there may be a chance of survival. However, he miscalculated one thing. That is the temper of the Uchiha ninja. Shameless bitch, Basan's insulting voice stopped abruptly, and kunai had been pinned to his forehead. Uchi-namikaze flag then got up from behind the interrogation table and gave Uchiha Makoto a salute. Kuwu was lost by him. He's had enough, this kind of person, kill him. Close the case. Uchiha Makoto didn't say much, sighed, and got up and walked out. Uchi-namikaze looked at the back of Uchiha Makoto leaving with a complicated expression. When Uchiha Makoto was about to go out, he couldn't help but say, Makoto-sama, why do you care about those rumors? It's not true. Uchiha Makoto paused while pressing the door's hand, pushed the door and walked out without saying anything. The dark corridor, Uchiha Makoto looked tired and sad. Standing in the darkness in the corner, Luhan watched her walk past the corner and couldn't help shouting, Makoto. Uchiha Makoto stopped, froze for a moment, blinked, and then suddenly turned around to look into the corner. Hokage building, Hokage office. Teacher, you are looking for me. Orochimaru stood at the desk, expressionless. Yeah, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who seemed to be busy reviewing the information, responded with a nasal voice, put the scroll aside, raised his head and said solemnly, Minato was injured in an accident just now. Is it serious? Orochimaru said coldly. Need me to help him heal? Orochimaru's price for treating an injury is usually another person's life. It's not serious. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head, his eyes fixed on Orochimaru. That's it, the man who wounded Minato appeared in the village this morning, after Minato found him. And Orochimaru's character became colder and colder. Listening to Sarutobi Hiruzen's description, his expression did not change at all, even when Sarutobi Hiruzen said that the person who pretended to be Cold Light knew the art of Hiraishin. What do you think? Sarutobi Hiruzen finally asked. Let Anbu find him, Orochimaru said coldly. And then what? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. What then? Orochimaru asked rhetorically. The office suddenly fell into an eerie silence. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes were like electricity, Orochimaru's eyes were cold, and their eyes were facing each other. The two seemed to be deadlocked, and even the air was a bit cold. Orochimaru understands what Sarutobi Hiruzen means. Sarutobi Hiruzen suspects that Orochimaru has not been 2 days in a row. Someone has used the Konoha secret technique, and Konoha has disappeared in recent years. Both of these things are related to Orochimaru, but Sarutobi Hiruzen has no definite evidence. Chapter 0858-Musashi. At Sarutobi Hiruzen, you will feel extremely terrifying pressure, but this pressure is useless to Orochimaru. Orochimaru knows what he has done, and he knows what he has not done, so. In fact, his heart is calm. It's all right, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally said, and the suppressed atmosphere in the office suddenly loosened. Orochimaru turned around and walked out, cold and faint like a ghost. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru's leaving figure. This was his most valued disciple, and even deliberately passed on the position of Hokage to him, but Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart is extremely complicated. After Orochimaru went out, the office fell silent again. Sarutobi Hiruzen clenched his fist violently, then slowly let it go. His face was cloudy for a while, and then he said, Can you see anything? There is a dark cloud in his heart. He hides his emotions. He is perfect. I can't see through his thoughts. A hoarse voice sounded in the office. The figure came out of the corner. Judging from this person's height and body shape alone, he is likely to be a teenager who is only 12 or 13 years old. Haven't found it yet. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the mask humanely. No, the masked man shook his head, his voice hoarse with a little more depth. Except for 6 of the 27 people who were missing before and after, they were definitely murdered by outsiders, and the other 21, I can confirm, were from the village. Humans do it, but Orochimaru is very vigilant. Every time I follow him, I get lost, and I almost got caught by him once. I didn't find his lab. I will find it. Are you sure your inference is true? I'm sure. Very, very sure. Yeah. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't ask any more. He believed in this person's innate talent, and then paused and said, although I really hope you are wrong, but I want results, I want exact evidence, and about the Horaitian leak, it's up to you too. As ordered. Go ahead. The masked man walked into the corner. Musashi. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly stopped him again. What? The masked man known as Musashi stopped. Don't let me down, Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Oh, trust me, Musashi laughed. Konoha Police Building. Dark passage outside the underground interrogation room. Uchiha Makoto suddenly turned to look at the corner. The corner was empty. Uchiha Makoto was stunned there, and soon laughed at himself again, shook his head, and muttered, how is it possible? How could it be the voice of that person? That person has been dead for 10 years, and Uchiha Makoto felt that he was so tired that he had auditory hallucinations. Uchiha Makoto turned and left. It wasn't until Uchiha Makoto walked away that Luhan appeared again in the corner and let out a faint sigh. He just couldn't help calling Makoto, and then he felt that he was too rash. Now stop Makoto, and then. He didn't know what had happened in these 10 years. He didn't know what kind of person Makoto had become. He didn't know anything. Before leaving the police building, Luhan secretly glanced at Makoto again. Makoto was asking for leave from the squad leader of the Konoha Police Department. She looked very tired and haggard, and was going to rest for a few days. In the next few days, Luhan used his feet to walk all over Konoha, except for those places that are heavily guarded, such as the Hokage building and other places. It's listening. The longest place he goes to is restaurants, where people talk a lot, and it's easiest to inquire about news. On the 4th day, Luhan left Konoha once and went to the town closest to Konoha to inquire about news. On the 5th day of Luhan's resurrection, he returned to Konoha again. 5 days, he has already inquired about the current situation of Konoha, as well as the major events that happened in those 10 years, as well as the situation of some important tasks. Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning left Konoha 9 years ago, and then Uzumaki Kushina also gone. Uchiha Leiyang was killed because of a rebellion, White Fang committed suicide, the Third Ninja War broke out 2 years ago, and the current Anbu captain is Hitaki Teishuo. Another interesting piece of news is that Sarutobi Hiruzen rebuilt the route. A year ago, Sarutobi Hiruzen formed a death squad within Konoha Anbu. This unit is still named after route, and its nature is very similar to the route. Now the leader of this route organization is said to be a guy named Musashi. Musashi, this is obviously a code name, not a real name. No one knows Musashi's true identity. About Uchiha Makoto, Luhan also knew about it. The past 10 years, Uchiha Makoto's life can be said to be terrible, especially after Uchiha Fugaku came to power. She was pushed into the abyss. Legend has it that she fucks with men, and her private life is chaotic. Many ninjas know that they are throwing dirty water when they say this, but more people think it is true because the news is spread from within the Uchiha clan. Some people say that any man who comes close to Uchiha Makoto will die wrongly. It is said that she murdered for money and took the wealth of many Uchiha ninjas. In short, Uchiha Makoto is now in Konoha and is already synonymous with the Sasori woman, the lascivious snake, and that's why she's not doing well. Uchiha Makoto is 27 years old and unmarried, and has a lot to do with these rumors. 3 people become tigers, which can really destroy a person, even a ninja. But Luhan understood that Uchiha Makoto was definitely not that kind of person. She was hacked. Konoha 37 years, February 20th, morning. An independent courtyard very close to the gathering place of the Uchiha people, Uchiha Makoto, who was on vacation, was sitting on a rocking chair, holding a little black cat in her arms. With a sad expression, she looked lonely. Makoto. A cordial greeting came from behind. Uchiha Makoto subconsciously picked her ears. She felt that her auditory hallucinations were getting worse. Makoto. The voice came again. Uchiha Makoto froze, then suddenly got up and turned around. Luhan and Makoto looked at each other and gave her a smile. Chapter 0859 Makoto, long time no see. Luhan was wearing a black robe with a fat kabuto cap on his head, but he did not wear a mask. After investigation, he learned about what happened to Uchiha Makoto. Luhan felt that she was a trustworthy person, so he didn't want to hide her identity from Uchiha Makoto. Uchiha Makoto was stunned, staring wide-eyed at Luhan, who was smiling all over his face. Tears quickly filled his big and bright eyes, and then the tears flowed down. Luhan walked to Uchiha Makoto's side, reached out and stroked Uchiha Makoto's cheek, and wiped Uchiha Makoto's tears with his thumb. Uchiha Makoto tilted his head, pressed Luhan's palm, and closed his eyes in tears. "Is this a dream?" Uchiha Makoto whimpered, shaking slightly, rubbing Luhan's palm with his cheek, as if afraid of waking up from the dream. Trace of guilt flashed across Luhan's face. He didn't know why he felt guilty, silly girl. Makoto took this as a dream, so he showed such affection. Meow. The little black cat on Makoto's lap suddenly turned over and let out a lazy meow. Makoto stopped abruptly, then opened his eyes, and suddenly looked up at Luhan again. "This is not a dream." Luhan chuckled softly. Boom _. The chair under Uchiha Makoto exploded directly, the sword light appeared, and the sound of breaking through the air was like a ghost howl. At this moment, the weak woman with self-pity and self-mourning turned into a decisive Jonin, who slashed straight at Luhan's neck. Luhan took a step back, the tip of the knife flashed in front of his neck, and it was about to touch the skin of Luhan's neck, and this distance was like a moat to Uchiha Makoto, who was Jonin's strength. When Makoto missed a hit, he turned and jumped back, flashing several times in a row, completely pulling away from Luhan, bowing his waist in a fighting stance, with the horizontal knife in front of him, and Yuhi's eyes staring at Luhan. Cold. Meow. A louder meow followed. That was thrown out by Makoto howled and quickly grew bigger as it rolled in the air. When it landed in front of Makoto, it was already 3 meters high and 5 meters long, with an extremely ferocious expression and a body like a tiger. Leopard, grinning at Luhanyan Kiba. "It's a ninja." Konoha Police Force Interrogation Squad Leader, Level 30 White Silver Boss, Uchiha Makoto. Makoto became Yuhi's name and stared at Luhan with an almost mad look. "Who are you?" Makoto's cold voice was dry, as if she hadn't spoken aloud in too long. Luhan raised his hand and touched his nose. "Such a familiar question, motherfucker." "It is as expected. You dare to impersonate him." Uchiha Makoto bit Kiba, gnashing his teeth. "You know. If I call someone, no matter who you are, no matter how strong you are, in Konoha, you will die without a burial." Cough. Luhan coughed lightly and looked at Makoto calmly. "I still remember that year, That year you were so tall." Luhan made a very short gesture. "You are still cute." "Da little loli, asked me for directions at the gate of the ninja school. There are 2 forks in the school. When you are entering the school for the first time, you are confused and can't find the way. You may think that I am a bully." The students who looked more lively asked for directions and only dared to pull the corner of my clothes. "I asked you why no one came to take you to school. After all, it was the first time. You said that everyone in the family was very busy. We became friends like this. You are very timid and cry very much, and I often cry. Because Luo Ning always beats me, but I can't beat her. I remember that time, you were sick and insisted on coming to class. I dragged you to skip class together, and we stayed in the woods for an afternoon on the runway. In fact, I didn't tell you, I didn't have the guts to skip class. I dragged you along because I heard that Luo Ning was going to beat me again. I was afraid, but I didn't dare to skip class by myself, so I pulled you in and used you as a shield. Don't be sad, we were all children at that time." Quote. "I don't know when you became more and more beautiful and more popular. In fact, I wanted to stay away from you. Because I was too close to you. I was taught many times, but you always come to me, you hurt me, you know. Ha. Quote. When I was 10 and you were 8, you asked me one day what was your dream, and I said, don't be beaten. You laughed at me and said that other boys' dreams were to be Hokage, only mine was my dream. It's because one day I didn't get beaten, I was sad. Not because of the beating, but because you laughed at me, and then you comforted me, and you secretly gave me sweet pastries, saying that they were stolen from home. Let me I keep it a secret. I remember one exam, I did poorly in the exam, they all laughed at me as an idiot, the tail of the crane in the class. I left the school crying, you found me to comfort me, I asked your grades, you behaved very disappointed, seems to be worse than me. At that time, I was heartless and sighed with you and encouraged each other. At that time, it was the first time that you called me Brother Han. Later I heard that you actually did well in the test, but in order to comfort me, I said it was bad. When I was 12 years old, I was almost killed by Uchiha Fugaku because I was too close to you. It was Tsunade who saved me. When I got home, I saw you waiting for me, and your eyes were swollen from crying. Well, Uchiha Fugaku came after that. You panicked and wanted me to escape through the back window. Clang clang, 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 clang. The sharp tachi fell to the ground, bounced a few times, and slipped to the feet of the big cat before it stopped. Uchiha Makoto covered his mouth with his hands. His eyes were widened to ultimate, tears were flowing, and the whole person looked surprised and happy, and a little scared. Makoto, long time no see. Luhan opened his arms to Uchiha Makoto with a perfect smile. Uchiha Makoto looked at Luhan and just looked at Luhan like that. Tears kept coming, she shook her head, she backed away. She couldn't believe that he who had been dead for 10 years could reappear in front of her eyes. She was still afraid that it was a dream, she was afraid that the dream would shatter, but, she believed in those eyes, the eyes would not deceive. No matter how incredible, how sensational, the truth is already in sight. Uchiha Makoto slowly put down her hands. She wanted to ask something, but didn't. Brother Han. Makoto finally moved, and she threw herself into Luhan's arms. Chapter 0860 Are you really a good person? Makoto's small courtyard is very close to the gathering place of the Uchiha tribe, but it is also separated by a forest belt nearly 100 meters wide. In fact, she should live in the Uchiha tribe's mansion, but because of those rumors, because some members of the Uchiha tribe, she had to move out because of the unkindness of the big man. Also because of those rumors, there were no other houses around her house, and no one wanted to be her neighbor. Therefore, no matter what happens in this small courtyard, as long as there is no big movement like an explosion, no one will come to check it. In fact, even if there is a big movement like an explosion, it does not mean that there is a problem. After all, Uchiha Makoto is to cultivate, and she will always make noise when she cultivates. Therefore, generally speaking, as long as she does not issue a warning signal, the Uchiha ninja will also. I won't run over to see what's going on. Uchiha Makoto had already believed Luhan. Eyes will not deceive people, that kind of familiar and kind gaze. Uchiha Makoto believes that he will not admit mistakes, and Luhan said some things that only the two of them knew when they were children. This is the most powerful evidence. Although there are still many questions. For example, a person who has been dead for 10 years, why does he suddenly appear? He is not dead, or resurrection. But to Uchiha Makoto, none of these questions mattered. She doesn't need to go to the bottom of it. For her, seeing Han Guang again, the misery of these years is nothing, and no one can understand the position of this man named Han in her heart. In the yard, a black cat as tall as a leopard that was more than 1 meter tall was picking up the pieces of the rocking chair. It took a piece of broken wood in its mouth, walked to the trash can, and threw it in. It was cleaned up after many times. It looked dissatisfied because it felt out of favor. Inside the hut, the long tree covered with the blanket collapsed, and Luhan sat down and held Uchiha Makoto's soft body in his arms. Actually, he didn't want to hold it like this, because it was a little uncomfortable to suddenly become so close, but Uchiha Makoto pulled his clothes. She didn't let go. It was inappropriate for her not to hold, I was resurrected. Although it sounds bizarre, but that's it. 5 days ago, I crawled out of the grave. This is very complicated. You can understand resurrection as a kind of art. Just like Konoha also has the art that can revive people as impure world reincarnation, and I also master a kind of art that can revive people, but the conditions for resurrection. Uchiha Makoto raised his lush jade fingers to block Luhan's mouth, shook his head at Luhan, and muttered, "Don't explain, don't explain." She lowered her head again and nestled in Luhan's arms, as if enjoying the feeling now. A warm feeling of, time is quiet, fills the room. "I've wronged you." Luhan stroked Makoto's hair, feeling unspeakably uncomfortable. He could feel the pain in Uchiha Makoto's heart. I asked, "Is it Uchiha Fugaku? I thought he would be a prodigal son. Why would he spread rumors about you?" A coldness flashed in Luhan's eyes. "It's not him," Makoto whispered. "It's some people around him, those ninjas who had become marginalized people. After Uchiha Fugaku became the clan leader, they all became the senior members of the clan. They wanted to kill me, but Fugaku, I feel that the matter of the third uncle has nothing to do with me. Those people slander me because I am the closest person to the third uncle. The third uncle died, but I am still alive. There are some things that Fugaku can't stop. In order to prevent me injured further, he appointed me as the leader of the torture squad, and some rights. Also good. Makoto's third uncle, Uchiha Leiyang, who was killed because of the rebellion. Seems that Makoto has a good impression of the current Uchiha Fugaku. Uchiha Makoto's current misery is caused by the group of people around Fugaku, because these people are the hardcore cronies of Uchiha Henshin back then. After Henshin died, Leiyang took over, and they were excluded from the fringes of the Uchiha clan. Those who were originally high-ranking people suddenly became high-level thugs without power. They naturally resented Uchiha Leiyang. Leiyang was dead and involved a lot, but Uchiha Makoto survived and naturally became a punching bag. Clan cannibalism. Uchiha clan has clan rules. Konoha has laws. They dare not really do what to Uchiha Makoto, can't move a finger, so many eyes staring at it, splashing dirty water. Maybe it's the only thing they have method. Will Fugaku still pester you? Luhan asked unwillingly. Is he really a good person? I haven't spoken for 3 years. The last time, was at a police meeting. Uchiha Makoto whispered. It's his wife, Kaon, who sometimes comes to comfort me. Uchiha Kaon, Uchiha Fugaku's current wife, Uchiha Itachi's mother. I'm back, everything will be fine, trust me. Luhan hugged Makoto tightly. I believe. Makoto also hugged Luhan's waist tightly. Don't tell anyone about me, I'm going to take revenge. The guy who killed me back then, I'm going to find him. A very powerful bastard who can't leak any information. I won't say it, Uchiha Makoto replied. Squeak _. The downward opening window of the room suddenly swayed, and the little black cat jumped in, jumped on the table, then jumped on the chair, looking at Luhan curiously, but Luhan didn't care about it, but it suddenly said, Are you Han Guang? It turned out to be a woman's voice, mother's. Luhan frowned suddenly, and his eyes turned to the little black cat like electricity. This guy is a high-level intelligent ninja. The little black cat suddenly became cold, and the terrifying pressure rushed to its body. It fell directly from the chair and lay on the ground, its body trembling uncontrollably. Luhan's killing intent was not something he could bear. Don't hurt her. Uchiha Makoto hurriedly poked his head out of Luhan's arms, grabbed Luhan's hand and pressed it. She understood what Luhan was worried about, and begged, she is very good and won't talk nonsense. Well, rascal, I'm not afraid of you. The little black cat stood up forcefully, looking like he would rather not bend. Luhan raised his brows, and when he saw Uchiha Makoto's eyes, his heart softened. Where did the ninja beasts come from?